like to invite all legislators to the chambers so that we may begin our meeting. Yep.
Corinne.
All right, thank you very much for everyone for coming tonight. We're going to start the meeting off as we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Legislator Ford will lead us in the pledge. Okay, thank you all for coming tonight and to join with us for tonight's meeting. As we always do, to start things off, we have a presentation regarding the top cops. We then have a presentation in celebration of Black History Month. Then there's the public comment portion of our meeting, and finally the actual legislative agenda. If you have not already submitted a slip and you want to speak before the legislature during the public comment portion, there's a slips over there on the table, so please come up, fill up out a slip, and bring it to the clerk's table right down here. Okay, thank you very much. Mike, could you please call the roll?
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Deputy Presiding Officer Howard Coppell. Alternate Deputy Presiding Officer Denise Ford. Legislator Sela Bino. Thank you. Legislator Carrier Salage. Thank you. Legislator Deborah Muley. Legislator C. William Gaylor III. Present. Legislator John Giuffre. Here. Thank you. Legislator Mazi Philippe.
Here.
Legislator Delia DeRigi Witten. Legislator James Kennedy.
Here.
Thank you. Legislator Thomas McKevitt.
Here.
Legislator Laura Schaefer.
Here.
Legislator John Ferretti.
Here.
Legislator Arnold Drucker. Legislator Rosemarie Walker. Legislator Joshua Lafazan. Legislator excuse me, Minority Leader Kavan Abrahams, Presiding Officer Richard Nicolello. We have a forum. Did I say? Sorry.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Yes.
Made a mistake, Mike?
All right, so start things off, I would like to invite up James Shanahan, Financial Secretary of the Nassau County PBA, for the purposes of a presentation.
Yeah. All right, don't make a big deal.
I want to thank the Ledge for having us here tonight to honor these four heroes who've shown once again what our officers will do for the residents of Nassau County. So on November 4th, 2022, at approximately 8:45 a.m., 1st Precinct police officers John Tucker, Andrew Miranda, Nicholas Tatoma, and Paul Simonetti responded to a call for a house fire in Roosevelt. Upon arrival, officers observed the house to be fully engulfed. A witness stated that someone was trapped inside the house. The heavy smoke and fast-growing fire made it impossible for them to enter the house. The witness was able to provide them with a location of the victim. Officer Miranda got his department-issued breaching tool and started making entry to the house through the exterior wall. The officers switched off using the breaching tool, and an off-duty fire department volunteer who was there working for the town of Hempstead Sanitation also helped break down the exterior wall. They were able to locate the victim, pulled her from the house. She was unconscious and not breathing. CPR was performed, and she was transported to a local hospital, ambulance 2351, for treatment. These officers' quick responses and quick action enabled them to get the victim out of the house. This is why Nassau County PBA is proud to announce police officers John Tucker, Andrew Miranda, Nicholas Tatoma, and Paul Simonetti as legislative top cops for February of 2023. Commissioner Ryder.
Again, thank you. It's nice to see you guys at nighttime. Maybe you're not too happy being here at night. I got to watch this video, and I know we gave the recognition to the fire department, and the fire department above and beyond, as they always do. But many times we are the true first responders. We're the first ones at that scene when that happened. I watched Officer Miranda's video as he ran back and forth from his body cam back to get that breaching tool that you all authorized for us to buy. And it went into that car, and he used it, taking turns. They pulled that victim out through the wall. They went through plywood, and anybody's done renovations at their home know how hard that is to bust plywood. They went through plywood, they went through the shingles, through the sheetrock, through the insulation, broke the 2x4, and pulled that woman out through the house. Working together as a team with our fire department, and then, of course, our great police medics. They almost got to save that woman's life, and unfortunately, it was tragic. But what they did that night is heroic, and that's why we're here again recognizing them. But I wanted to remind us that that fire department and police medic, everybody stepped in. That's what responders do. They put their lives on the line. They take the risk for all of you. And I'm, again, very proud of the actions that they did that night. Thank you.
Thank you to the Nassau County Legislature, Commissioner Ryder, and Secretary Shanahan for recognizing and your ongoing support for ensuring that we always have the training and the tools needed to handle the complexity of the various calls that we handle on a daily basis in the police department. So thank you again for your support. My name is Police Officer Tucker.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Minority Leader Abrahams for some remarks.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I think, Commissioner, by the way, you look great, by the way, and been praying for you in your recovery since your surgery. What I was going to say is the fact that we can provide the tools and the resources, such as the Commissioner talked about, making sure you have the proper apparatuses to make sure you do the heroic things you do. But the one thing we can't put in place of you is your heart, your bravery, and your heroism. I mean, it goes without saying. We obviously, the woman that has passed in this very tragic situation, this house fire, and a couple of months ago, myself and Legislator Muley recognized individuals from the Freeport, Roosevelt Fire Department, and sanitation as well. And I think the Commissioner said it best. It's a collective effort, and without you, that collection and those efforts would not be there. So tremendous work, and my hat is tipped off to each and every one of you for your heroism. You were phenomenal, and as I said before, and we don't take it lightly, the one thing that we can't test for, or one thing we can't provide, is bravery, and each of you exemplified that in your actions at this particular house fire in Roosevelt. So thank you again, and I want to commend each and every one of you for the job well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add real quickly, briefly, is that each month we get to honor the top cops. And what strikes me is the diversity of circumstances. I mean, it changes every month. And to see the skill and experience and reactions to all sorts of different circumstances is extraordinary. And your representation of what the job means is truly incredible. So congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
So we'll invite you up in a moment or two for a purpose of a presentation. We have two presentations this month from the Detectives Association, Inc. So now I'll invite President Jeff Gross.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Gross. I'm the president of the Nassau Detectives Association. I'm honored to be here tonight. I want to thank the Majority Leader, Rich Nicolello, and the Minority Leader, Kevon Abrams, and the full legislative body for having us here today and having this program. It means a lot to our detectives who do hard work every day. This first case I wanted to mention was actually in January, and we were put off because both the detectives from the January were on line of duty sick, and they were not able to be here. So it means a lot, too, that you're allowing me to do two and not having them miss this opportunity. So thank you for that. This case was started on September 30th of 2022. It was a report of shots fired at a location. The officers responded, and it was negative results. The detectives responded back the following day, and they recovered shell casings at an intersection. They did a thorough investigation. Numerous interviews were done. They recovered 2 videos of the shooting. They were able to identify both shooters. Again, they did multiple canvasses and interviews. The suspects were eventually stopped in a car stop. They were found to have weapons on them, and the detectives responded. Detective Barbieri went and secured oral interviews and confessions from them. Detective Rodriguez had the case from the beginning, on the onset, and all the way through. The guys did a terrific job. It's still an active case, so they really can't comment on it. But if you want to ask me any questions, you're free to do that. Okay. Thank you very much. The February case is a case for Pete Sickinger and the members of the gang unit. Come on up. And Joe Grasso is the prosecutor from the ADA's office. This case happened on April 25th, 2022, around 3:43 a.m. at the Park West nightclub in Westbury. 2 rival gangs were involved in a shooting. Over 40 rounds were fired. 1 suspect was shot multiple times. Detective Sickinger responded. He's got a great knowledge of the gangs and the people involved. He identified this as a gang shooting. Through confidential informants, information he received, physical evidence collected at the scene, and an extensive criminal investigation of the incident, they were able to get a probable cause on 5 different shooters. Joe Grasso, the ADA, who was assigned this case, extensive experience being an ADA in the city. He's only been out here for about 10 months, but also very knowledgeable in homicides and gangs, and between the two of them and their knowledge, they were able to indict these 5 shooters on 57 different charges. The case is still active again. But Detective Sickinger and ADA Grasso are currently connecting these shooters to other shootings in Nassau County. These guys are what we would consider career criminals, and they were responsible for a crime wave just on their own. But I'd like to congratulate them for the hard work that they do. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But otherwise, I'll put the commissioner on. I don't want to cut you out totally.
So, as we all know, the rules have changed, and the Nassau County Police Department has adapted. These great work by these detectives that can't speak about the cases that they did because they're ongoing is why we're getting a chance to recognize them and can't get up and take any questions. They're ongoing investigations. This case, working with our district attorney's office, our gang unit, going after the worst of the worst, and then our DA going out and moving forward to prosecute. Our district attorney, a young ADA here, his dad was also a hero, was legal counsel at one time for the commissioner's office, NYPD. He's also here. I'd like to recognize his dad here. If he could just stare, he is over there taking pictures. But also a leader in his own way and doing great work as a lawyer. Partnering up with the district attorney, getting great cases gathered by these detectives, getting the statements that they've taken, putting this evidence together, and presenting a package to a good young ADA is what gets the prosecution, gets the ball across the line. And when you get it across the line, we put the bad guy where he belongs, in jail. And that's exactly what's going to happen in these cases. So I want to congratulate both of them and thank the district attorneys for its continued cooperation with the police department. Thank you.
Several legislators want to speak. So we have Legislator Gaylor, Legislator Coppell, and then Legislator Ford.
Sure. Thank you, Presiding Officer. So in my remarks are directed to the January incident, which we can't go into too much details, but it's always a privilege for me to hear stories of the great work that all of our law enforcement community and our district attorney's office, in combination with the law enforcement community, are doing, and to recognize those folks in a forum like this. So this month I want to commend Detectives Rodriguez and Barbieri for their thorough investigation and interviews with eyewitnesses, culminating in the arrest of at least 2 people, maybe more, ongoing, the recovery of loaded firearms in vehicles and whatnot. Just testamentary to the great work that you guys do and continue to do. Fortunately, in this incident, there was no injuries from the dangerous exchange of gunfire, an incident that started in Inwood, and I think it ended up in Hempstead. But it's clear that these individuals posed an ongoing threat to the community. And since there's no telling what kind of harm they may have caused, until they're apprehended and taken off the street, and we can put a stop to this kind of activity. So your hard work, as I said, is testament to the fine training all of our men and women in blue receive that allows them day to day to serve and protect and keep our community safe. And so this is another example why Nassau County's Police Department is the finest law enforcement department organization found anywhere in this country. So congratulations to Detective Rodriguez and Detective Barbieri for being this month's, or for January, Top Cop. Appreciate it.
So let me start with Detectives Rodriguez and Barbieri. I not only represent a good part of the area that you serve. I live there. I live not far from where this incident happened in Inwood, and I've got children and grandchildren over there. What you've done and your hard work makes me feel safe. Makes me feel safe for myself, not only for myself, but for my family as well. and I appreciate everything that you're doing. And not to neglect the Detective Sickinger as well as ADA Grasso. We all know that gangs are a terrible scourge, not only here but all over the country, many large cities. And you do dangerous work, and it's just a good feeling to know that you're on the job. And your work, all three of you, all four of you, I should say, exemplify the spirit and the courage, all of which combine to make Nassau County the largest and the safest large metropolitan area in the country. So congratulations on this award, and thank you very much for your service.
Good evening. All I can say is one can never underestimate the courage and the level of professionalism shown by our officers, especially our detectives. Detective Sickinger, your devotion and dedication in working to solve this crime resulting in these dangerous gang members being taken off our streets. I have to say this success was a result of your own dedication and your dogged determination to solve it, but also with the partnership with ADA Grasso, who also had a great knowledge of gangs, which helped in being able to solve this case. I have to say congratulations to both of you for making our neighborhoods safer. It really is. I think that you hear from the other legislators, we know how dangerous your jobs are, and having to deal with these gangs, it really is, to me, it goes one step above because we know how dangerous they are, and the retaliation that they can show, whether or not to regular folk and even to our police officers. It's extremely dangerous. But thank you, both of you. And I think we also should have to say, well, Commissioner Ryder, of course, you know, you lead this fine police department, and we see it day in and day out. And as the presiding officer said, every time we're honoring our top cops, it's always for a different reason, whether or not it's going into burning buildings, helping to keep somebody from committing suicide. They could be on train tracks, wherever. It's always a different experience, and I have to say that it is always something that will always stay with us, knowing the dangers that they face. And I guess we'll have to do a special shout out to D.A. Donnelly for bringing ADA Grasso here into Nassau County. You know, fine job for both of you, for all of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, let's invite the PBA up for the presentation, then DAA right behind. thank you very much, everyone, and we're going to proceed with the agenda. So if we could just have your attention for a little while longer. The Nassau County Legislature is proud and privileged to celebrate Black History Month. Harriet Tubman said, "Every great dream begins with a dreamer." Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. Today we recognize African Americans who have shown the strength, the passion, and the patience, often in the struggle against extraordinary circumstances and adversity, to triumph in all walks of life. So we salute all those who have changed our world and are still changing our world. I'd like to introduce Legislator Giuffre for the purpose of the presentation, and then Minority Leader Abrahams.
So at the West Hempstead Chamber of Commerce meeting last week, I had the pleasure of seeing two young women who I recognized from the cover of Newsday. And I said, "Are you the twins that are valedictorian and salutatorian of West Hempstead High School?" And they answered in stereo, "Yes." And it was a delight. They are as nice as they are smart. And they are our honorees for Black History Month. I have the privilege to represent them and their family in the county legislature. They are from West Hempstead. And so we'd like to acknowledge and honor Gloria Guerriere and her sister Victoria Guerriere, who at West Hempstead High School have GPAs of 105.4 and 104.9 respectively. Did I get that right, girls? All right. And there's got to be some record that they broke. Twins. How many times could this have happened? So their first assignment for their college was to look back and see. They're going to Yale, by the way. To see how many twins in Nassau County have met this achievement. And we have with them also tonight their mom, Marie, who's done a great job. And not only was he their teacher at Chestnut Street School, but he is now the superintendent of the West Hempstead School District, Dan Raymond. Dan? Very nice. And I know before I bring you up, their history with the Nassau County Legislature goes all the way back to kindergarten. So, Legislator Walker.
I had the privilege of reading to Victoria and Gloria when they were in kindergarten. Although that's not my district, Dan, the superintendent, happens to be a Hicksville student, and he and his sister grew up with my kids, and he was the principal over in Chestnut Street, and asked me would I please come and read to his class. And at the time, Vin Muscarella was the legislator that represented that area, and I reached out to Vin and I said, "I know it's not my district, but you know I have a special connection with the principal teacher there," and so he said, "Absolutely." And although they were little girls at that time, 5 years old in kindergarten, the smiles they have today were the same smiles they had when they were 5 years old in kindergarten. And I will never forget those smiles. And sweet little girls, and they've grown up to be sweet, amazing young women who are now headed off to Yale, and we could not be prouder. And I'm going to have to go through all my pictures and find that picture and then compare the two today and back when you were 5 years old in kindergarten. So I'm very, very honored to be here and share this special night with you. God bless you all and the best of luck.
So if you'd like to come up for photographs.
I don't know if they want to say
Oh, please go to the podium. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you plan to do. So who's older?
I am.
Bye.
Gloria, yes. So hi, I'm Gloria. Thank you all for inviting me today. I'm so honored by this recognition. I want to thank Nassau County and all of the administrators who have supported me throughout my journey. I couldn't have done or achieved this much without you guys. The support I received and all of the aid and all of the support. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much. Hi, I'm Victoria Guerrier. Yes, I'm the younger one, twin B, salutatorian, always come after Gloria. But honestly, I'm very happy for my sister and for myself. I'm happy both of us made it together as top two. I'm also very appreciative of the support I've gotten from Nassau County, the teachers, my coaches. I would never have accomplished this if I was in another county, I believe, personally. So thank you guys so much. I'm very honored, and yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So would you like to come up? We'll do pictures with everybody. You too, Mom. And yes, Superintendent Raymond.
All right, Minority Leader Abrahams.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. So I think the Presiding Officer started to talk a little bit about it. Obviously, we're in Black History Month, and during this time, we try to celebrate collectively on both sides individuals that have made their mark, not just in the last year, but have continued to make their mark time and time again. And I have the pleasure of, on behalf of the entire legislature, of introducing Jeffrey and Cheyenne Spencer. And at this time, I would ask both of them to come to the podium. Jeffrey and Cheyenne are a father and daughter duo. They're lifelong residents of Hempstead. Jeffrey is a firefighter, and his daughter Cheyenne is an ophthalmic technician. Approximately 8 years ago, they began hosting events within the community, starting with the safe Halloween parties for kids, Thanksgiving sit-down dinners, and turkey giveaways for those that are less fortunate. That what started off small grew to them to hosting numerous events throughout the year. The largest event of the year being their annual Christmas toy giveaway dinner, where they serve the dinner and give toys to hundreds of kids and community members every year. Their duo has fueled the smiles and joy, and they have bring many more families together each and every year. Obviously, during those times, government can't do it all. And it's very important that we have community individuals like Jeff and Cheyenne that are here to be able to do their part. They don't do it for money. They don't do it for anything else but the warmness that it gives them in their hearts. So it gives me great recognition. It gives me great pleasure to recognize them today as our Black History honorees for obviously the month of Black History. Thank you again to both of you.
Thank you.
I have a citation here, but before I introduce you and have you come up for the presentation, please, the floor is yours.
Well, I just want to thank you all for even considering honoring us tonight. Like you said, my dad and I have been doing this about 8 years. This Christmas would be our 9th. And we're just gratefully appreciative of the support and also the support that we get from these two gentlemen behind us, Village of Hempstead trustees, Boone and Burroughs. And I see a few familiar faces that have been to our events before. So I just want to thank you. And like you said, we don't do it for anything but the joy that we're able to see and feel putting smiles on hundreds of people in the community's faces. So thank you for honoring us.
Our pleasure.
Where do we go?
You good, Jeff?
Thank you.
All right. All right. Trustees, you good? All right. Fair enough. Come on up.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get started with public comment. First speaker is Brian Sullivan, President of Nassau COBA.
He's in the back.
Yeah. He's probably right in the antechamber.
Forgive me, folks. I was outside talking to our new sheriff. Brian Sullivan, President, Nassau County Correction Officers Benevolent Association. Just wanted to say a couple of quick words. Tonight is not my night to be here. Tonight is Anthony LaRocca's night to be appointed as the sheriff of Nassau County. Obviously, several weeks ago, whatever it was, a month and a half ago, whatever, we were here for a public safety hearing, and a lot of warts came out, a lot of stuff that I've been talking about here for the longest time. Out of that meeting, I want to thank several of the legislators that went over to the jail and had a meeting with the administration, Legislator Pillip and Legislator Ferretti and Legislator Denise Ford. Some things were rectified, some of the stuff that I talked about, and I want to thank you for getting involved in this. There's been some increase in post coverage in the perimeter outside, which was definitely a bone of contention with us. The main thing that I just want to stress here is I've been here. There's been, the last two sheriffs that were appointed in Nassau County, I had high hopes of that there was going to be a lot of cooperation. There was going to be whatever. One of them was a captain on our job. The next one came from outside, had a resume that went down the block, and we didn't get anything done. There was no cooperation with the union. There was a lot of excuses why we can't get things done, money, this, that, COVID, everything else. What I am not here to block or talk any bad way about Anthony LaRocca. I know Anthony LaRocca for probably 25 years. Do I think he could be a very good sheriff in Nassau County? Yes. My issue is not with Anthony LaRocca, and I'm not going to go off on any tangents here, but I think everybody in this room and in this county knows where my issues are with management in the jail. I hope that Anthony LaRocca, once he's appointed as the sheriff, will be able to control that situation, and we will have a fruitful and cooperative relationship. One thing I can talk about, obviously, until I'm blue in the face, is staffing here. We just had a civil service certified a test back in February 1st. Sorry, just trying to get my brain together. I was having conversations in the back. February 1st of this year, this past month, civil service certified a test. We thought that was the test that was given in June of 2022. That was the test that was given in September of 2021. That was just certified this past month. That's not the fault of the department. That's not the fault of anybody else. I don't even know if it's the fault of civil service. I just don't understand why that has to take so long. It's my understanding now that the test that was given in June of 2022, the test results just hit the last several days. People are calling me up saying that there's people there. The 2021 test that was certified February 1st, amazingly, had a list of 74 eligibles on it. I say this all the time when I come here. I'm here 1,000 years. I'm like Methuselah. 35 years ago, I took this test with 18,000 people. This past test was given in 2021. They have 74 eligibles on that test. We're going to be in a bad way if that's what continues down the road. This new test that just came out today, I have it on good authority that there's approximately 520 eligibles. And when you think about the average, you're lucky to get 1 out of 7, 1 out of 10. We're going to run through that list pretty quick, too. It's also my understanding, information, and belief, to sound like a lawyer, that there may be another test given in June of this year. We have to do something. And that's the stuff that I need to implore with Anthony LaRocca as the new sheriff, as everybody here with the Public Safety Committee in particular, with the County Executive's Office, with all of our administrators. We can't go down the same road that we've gone down with all past administrations. We can't just not do something different to bring people into this job. This is a very good job. I know it's a different world now, millennials, everything else. They could yell at me for what you want. People don't want jobs like this. You're given a test that maybe 1,000, maybe 600 people test. We have to come up with a different plan. We opened up the borders. We're going into Queens. We're going into Suffolk now. There's other talk about possibly taking people from other jobs and bringing them here from different counties. I think we need to explore all of this. That's the main issue that I want to talk about here, is the staffing and the cooperation between the county, the administration, and the union. We can't all be compartmentalized in our own boxes, throwing dirt at each other. I've done that 1,000 times. It doesn't get anywhere. We go through different administrations. I'm here trying to develop new relationships with new administrations. Where does it get us? It doesn't get us anywhere. Perfect example that I could talk about now. How many times did I talk in front of this legislative body about our academy? Our academy that we had on the jail property was old, dilapidated inmate housing trailers. The police left there in, oh God, forgive me, 93, 2000, I think it was 2003, the police left there. We were in there just until this new academy opened up in Garden City. Now, unfortunately, because of some, people are looking for time and space in there, our department has actually brought back onto the jail property part-time in another old inmate housing area to set it up, kind of just jerry-rig it up and set it up to put in-service training back on jail property in old inmate housing areas. To me, this is absurd. We shouldn't be doing this. We're in the new academy over there. There should be plenty of room. It's my understanding that it's a lot smaller than it was initially anticipated to be. But what are we telling correction officers here this far down the road after that academy was built? There's talk about doing something else on our property. What are you telling the long-standing correction officers here whose morale is beneath the floor to begin with, that now we're going to put you in old inmate falling apart housing areas again with roofs leaking, rusted out doors, old plumbing that hasn't been used in probably 20 years. This is penny-wise and dollar foolish. Penny-wise and dollar foolish is just absurd. We have to figure out another plan here, whether it's we get some more space in that academy in Garden City, we find another area in the county to use. There's plenty of empty space in county buildings. I just think that we need to find a better plan here. And as I said before, going forward, I want to know exactly what the game plan is with the new administration, with Sheriff LaRocca, with everybody that's there. I would like to know exactly what the game plan is going forward about how we're going to fix security in this place, how we're going to address HALT, how we're going to address training. Obviously, I talked about here ad nauseum about all the use of force incidents that we have here with the least amount of inmates we've had in 30 years. We've had 30 to 40% increase in uses of force. This can't go on. So I want to have a good cooperative relationship with Anthony LaRocca as the sheriff. I would like somebody else to calm down a little bit. I'll leave it at that. Like I said, I'm not going to beat that to death here. But we need to have a constructive relationship. I want to congratulate and anticipate going forward that he's going to be appointed tonight. Congratulate Anthony LaRocca on being the new county sheriff. But what's the game plan going forward? We need to get a new academy for our people. We need to fix a lot of things here. We just can't go on the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
I had a request from the administration to move up 2 appointments, so we're going to quickly present those 2 appointments. Item 20, Resolution 39, a resolution to confirm the county executive's appointment of Arnold Pileski to the Nassau County Bridge Authority. Motion by Legislator Walker, second by Legislator Palip. This appointment is before us. Is Mr. Pileski here?
Good evening. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the county executive and the legislature for giving me another opportunity to serve my community. I've been here before. You also approved me as chair of the Nassau County Water Resources Board several years back. And also, I take the time to just say thank you for your support. This is unrelated to the Nassau County Police Activity League, which I'm vice president, been on the board for 25 years, and if it wasn't for you people supporting us, we couldn't do the nice things we do for the 40,000 children of our community. But at any rate, I am appreciative of whatever I can do to help on the Bridge Authority, and if you have any questions, I'm here.
Yes, Legislator Ford.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay. So I guess you're familiar with the Bridge Authority and the Atlantic Beach Bridge? Do you live in the area? I'm
I've
sorry, I
lived in
didn't
the
look at
5
your res-
towns my whole life, so I'm familiar with at least crossing the bridge.
Okay. Thank you for being honest. So, but, my concern, of course, with the changes that we had with the increase in the fare, which you're not, the increase in tolls, but I'm hoping that in the near future, we'll be able to meet with you to discuss some of the increases, because there are some that, especially for our trucks and everything, it has been very egregious. It's been the cost for trucks to be going over the bridge like twice a day is really cutting into the small business owners, and because they're having to pay these increased tolls. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to work with you on that to maybe take a fresh look with you,
Sure.
like to be able to.
I'd be glad to help in any way I can.
Because, yeah. And then
I'm a little familiar with increases in rates because I manage the Town of Hempstead Water Department, and I had those similar problems trying to increase rates in that area too. So,
And watching, yeah.
hopefully I can bring some experience to the table.
I'm sure you will, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I know we're undergoing a big change with us eventually moving to Easy Pass, so God bless you wanting to help with that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Legislator Solage.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you. May you please discuss any plans for the Easy Pass or cashless toll at the authority?
Since I'm not on the board at this point and I have really no experience with them, it's very difficult for me to answer any questions at this point. Perhaps when I get on the board and get familiarized with what they've been doing, I might be better off to help. But at this point...
Why is that bridge so special? Why is that the only bridge in New York State that is cashless, that is only cash?
I couldn't answer that question.
Where's that money going?
I've seen it my whole life and crossed it many times, and I really don't have an answer for that. I guess you'd have to go back 70 or 80 years when they established the bridge to find out how the authority was created. I really don't know.
Thank you.
But Legislator Solage, Easy Pass should be up and running probably by the summer. Okay, so now it's going to be later? I'll have to talk to them. Okay, but yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Pileski? Nope. Thank you. Appreciate it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it's carries unanimously. Item 23, Resolution 42 is a resolution confirming the Nassau
Thank you.
County Executive's appointment of Dana Durso to the Nassau County Planning Commission.
So moved.
Motion by Legislator Walker, seconded by Legislator Kennedy. That's before us. Ms. Durso.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I would like to thank Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman and everybody here today on the board. My name is Dana Durso, and I want to thank everybody for your consideration on being appointed to the Nassau County Planning Commission. I want you to understand I do not take this consideration for this position lightly. As I am ultimately selected, I will be committed to this as I am with every position that I hold. Just to give you a little background on myself, I of course live here in Nassau County, Massapequa Park to be exact, where I serve as a trustee of the Incorporated Village of Massapequa Park since 2020. I am currently serving my second term, and I really enjoy serving the community that I live in. I am learning to the understanding of local government, front and center. I also have worked alongside Congressman Andrew Garbarino as a community affairs representative. My career as a real estate agent for the past 8 years has really helped me learn about communities all along across Long Island, but also helping people achieve a goal in finding their forever homes. Family is so important to me. I have served as a PTA president for my daughter's school for 2 years, which was one of the most rewarding jobs I've had. From planning events to raising money for our children's school can have been the best experience possible. Between my 2 children, PTA events, village board meetings, and showing homes, I also help to manage a family business. I grew up in the restaurant business since I was 12. Learning the business understands the struggles of small business owners, but most of all serving the public with a smile and treating everyone like family. I love people, I love to work, and most of all, I love to learn. I may not have all the answers, but I am willing. I hope that not only the skills I've learned throughout my various positions helps me with this one, but my willingness to learn, my passion for people, and commitment to public service can be seen as a positive when deciding if I am the correct person for this position. I thank you all for your time, and I look forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions?
I don't really have a question, but
Yes.
I really do feel that your background, and especially your background dealing with real estate, oftentimes when we have issues or something from our districts that is going before the Planning Commission, and we're giving information, we're asking questions, whatever, you know, you understand a lot of that just from your background in real estate. So
Yes.
hopefully things will go well tonight, and I look forward to working with you. So,
Thank you, Ms. Walker.
Because I seem to have a lot of things on that Planning Commission. So,
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? No. All right, I'll call for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay, I apologize to the people for public comment. We'll jump right back into that. Bob Orsiello, Nassau County CSEA, and Deputy Sheriffs.
Good evening, Presiding Officer Nicolillo and legislators. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bob Arciello. I'm the Executive Vice President of CSEA Local 830 and President of the Deputy Sheriff's Benevolent Association. I'm here tonight just to give our support from CSEA and from the Deputy Sheriff's Benevolent Association for Anthony LaRocco. I know Anthony I've been with the county over 33 years and 4 years as a correction officer, the rest as in the enforcement division on the other side. And I know Anthony about 30 years. He was a very dedicated public servant for his time here before he retired as a captain from the enforcement division. And he's done, since the county executive has appointed him as undersheriff and then acting sheriff now, he's done several things to move the enforcement division forward. He's a great guy. He's loyal, trustworthy, and I just wanted to come up and give my support for his appointment tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bob. Okay. Corrine Kaufman.
Good evening. I'm Corinne Kaufman, and I'd like to thank my legislator, Julia Dirigi-Witten, for inviting me here today. I thank all the legislators for your time and for welcoming me. I'm here to speak with you about the loss of our granddaughter, Paige Grace Gibbons, who passed away from an accidental fentanyl overdose on November 20th, 22. On November 16th, I spoke with Paige to wish her a happy birthday. She had just turned 19. 4 days later, she was dead from fentanyl poisoning. What happened? Paige and another girl, also named Paige, and a third girl planned a sleepover with the parents home. The girls had purchased what they thought was Percocet. They took a nibble, as my son-in-law David described. It was 100% fentanyl. That's how powerful it was. Our Paige passed away. The second Paige survived after weeks in critical care unit and also suffered 2 strokes. That night, the third girl, a non-participant, ran upstairs to get the parents, who tried to perform CPR. You might say the surviving Paige was lucky, but I fear the lifetime emotional burden will be unbearable. These young souls were not drug addicts. They wanted to relax. I really think they were naive. I do think that between the isolation of COVID, the pace of society, and the pressures that exist, they sought something to alleviate these stressors. Our daughter Kate and son-in-law David were notified by 2 policemen at their front door that Paige was gone. They also learned that this case is now considered a homicide. It is unimaginable that this is us. All about Paige. I'd like to tell you who Paige was. This is Paige. She attended Our Lady of Mercy in Pittsford, New York. She graduated with a 4.0 plus average and a natural honor student. She used to get upset when she received an A-. She had a photographic memory and wanted to be a doctor. Everything she did was about life. She volunteered for the Pittsford EMT department and drove the ambulance. She gave swimming lessons to underprivileged children at Healthy Hero Camp. She demonstrated CPR instruction for her senior project and also purchased a female model for the demonstrations and donated this to her school. She raised funds for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I share this because I want you to know that Paige was all about life. This brings me to the moral of the story. It can happen to anyone. This demon drug knows no boundaries, and it's taking people all ages and all walks of life. The impact on our family. Our family will never be the same. When this happened, my pain centered on my daughter, Kate. I recall all the wonderful things she did as any mother would raising a child. Birth, love, first steps, first words, camp, sports, braces, plays, prom, graduation, building a wonderful human being. This death is a terrible waste. Her funeral was the day after Thanksgiving. My son-in-law, a strong 6'4" former football player, is a man who is very private, but he cried oceans of tears as he hugged over 300 people at the wake. At the funeral, he delivered a tribute to Paige filled with love and anecdotes that was live-streamed on YouTube. Paige's sister, Brooke, 15 years old, spoke too. I realized that she grew up overnight, and she took on the role of the surviving sister. Over 3,000 people have watched this video. The family wants everyone to see it because it conveys fentanyl awareness and the heartbreak that it's caused. The lesson. Our family is now Narcan trained, and we did this just days after the funeral for education and family solidarity. I asked myself, what good can come from this horrible tragedy? I wondered, what can I do to get our message out? Initially, I contacted everyone I could think of. I wanted to do it all, but I realized I needed to start locally and focus on what I can actually do. I could not change the issues with the cartels, the borders, the gangs, etc. Stopping them would be the solution. Let's start with the schools, I thought. Firstly, we have to start by getting Narcan mandated in all the schools, and this is where we should begin. I learned that Narcan is not mandated in the Nassau County Schools Nurse's Office. I reached out to Dr. Dominic Palma, president of the Nassau Superintendent's Board, and he kindly said he would be in touch with all the Nassau County superintendents for me. I quote, he called fentanyl the scourge of our time. Secondly, we need to educate our children in the schools all about drugs. Our youngest daughter will be holding an assembly in Oyster Bay High School in March. She will appear with a substance abuse expert, thus giving students both the information they need to hear as well as the emotional consequences firsthand. I know we are not alone, but just think, if everyone in this room could save just one life. This is my wish list. 1, Narcan in all Nassau County middle schools and high schools with the addition of fentanyl strips that are being considered by the legislature again. 2, drug education in the schools starting in middle school, creating a model for all school assemblies to follow county and statewide. Anti-fentanyl signage in every school. Mental health screening in schools to see who might be at risk. Photos of the young victims poisoned by fentanyl with the addition of support from news media, very much like we see the statistics on COVID in the newspaper every single day. 5 is a nationwide campaign to fight fentanyl and stop fentanyl. And lastly, the formation of a coalition of all organizations against fentanyl and all substance abuse so that we can work together and share our resources and not duplicate each other. If any of you wish to see the Thanksgiving for the life of Paige Grace Gibbons, it is on YouTube, and the tribute begins at 36 minutes. And I think if you have young people at home or grandchildren, sharing this with them would share the emotional side of this terrible, terrible drug in our lives. Thank you very much.
Corinne, I just want to commend both you and your husband, Andrew, on the amount of strength it takes with just only a couple months after this tragedy to be able to walk in here and be so knowledgeable and so impressive. And you hit all of our hearts for sure. And all I can say is, we would love to have a hearing on the fentanyl strip legislation. It's not perfect, but it's something, especially for those unsuspecting victims. And I've been family friends of my husband for decades, and I can tell you, if you haven't figured it out, if it could happen to this family, it could happen to any family. This is a warm, loving family that did all the right things. And as a mom, I am shaken to the bone from what you just said, and I just appreciate you so much, and I appreciate both of you for being here, and you're in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kaufman.
Thank you.
Deborah Brooks.
I was afraid you were going to call me next. I just want to wish my condolences. I'm a school board member in Port Washington. I know that we do educate the children, but I will certainly raise this at our board meeting and make sure, of course. Good evening, Presiding Officer and to the Legislature. Thank you to Legislator Dridgy Whitten for inviting me here. I'm Deborah Brooks, Chair of the Port Washington Board of Education Legislative Task Force, here to address the zero-emissions school vehicle mandate. Last year, the state legislature mandated that school district acquisitions of new vehicles for students be zero emissions beginning July 2027, with all vehicles being zero emissions by 2035. The goal of improving air quality for our children by deploying cleaner school vehicles is a noble one. However, this is an unfunded mandate that is fiscally and logistically burdensome to school districts. Accordingly, the Port Washington Board of Education is urging you to sign on to the assurances sought in the letter presented to you by Legislator Dridgy Whitten. The program's long-term viability will depend upon the capacity of our utilities and infrastructure. Full deployment of electric school vehicles with its demand for and on a sizable new network of charging stations and related infrastructure will greatly increase demand on our grid. Is PSEG Long Island ready for this? We urge the state to study PSEG Long Island capacity limits and then fund and operate a local pilot program to ensure local utilities and infrastructure can handle the increased demand without negatively impacting elements of our daily utility services. In addition to purchasing new vehicles, school districts will need charging stations, overhauled electrical infrastructure, and more. Since 2012, the tax cap has constrained the property tax revenue school districts can generate. School districts should not have to choose between funding academic programming and complying with a costly unfunded state mandate. Numerous municipalities have received state grants to support transportation electrification. If the state proceeds with this mandate, we urge that similar opportunities be afforded to all school districts. Finally, we urge the state and the state education department to provide comprehensive guidance regarding how to implement and sustain this initiative, including but not limited to funding opportunities, additional waivers, avenues for cooperation with local utilities, managing still operational diesel buses, and more. Until such guidance is provided, we urge the state to delay this mandate. Thank you for taking the letter before you into consideration. As we devise and implement initiatives to protect our environment, we must be mindful to prevent unintended negative consequences, especially to our schools, that could undermine the long-term success of our efforts. We hope you will sign on to the letter and partner with relevant entities to achieve an outcome that is the best interests of all New Yorkers, most important, our children. I thank you.
Sorry, this is my last witness. There's a copy of the letter. Everyone's been handed that. I would love to send this on a bipartisan fashion with all of us, because it's going to affect all of our school districts. So presiding officer, if you want to let me know if that is a possibility, we would like to do that. And then I think Deborah's also going to be reaching out, or we're going to figure out a way to reach out to many different school districts as well, so we can not only have Nassau County support it, but other school districts and PSE&G and all these other utilities, which I've had issues with in the past, I think really need to hear that it's a county-wide issue for them to pay attention. So thank you, Deborah, for taking the time and making us aware of this before it is implemented. Hopefully we'll have everything in place by then. So thank you for coming down today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Richard Clolery. I think you did. Brent Hill.
Good evening, Presiding Officer, Deputy, and members. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Brent Hill, and I've had the honor of being the Executive Director of the Five Towns Community Center for a number of years now. For 116 years, the Community Center has provided vital and impactful services to a very vibrant and a very diverse community. It's an understatement to say that we're woven into the fabric of the community. And with that being said, we have a number of community members and supporters here. I'd like to ask them to stand. So after 66 years of service, we entered into an agreement with the county. The county built a building just for us. We're very thankful for the opportunity. The building is amazing. We have a great basketball court where our PAL program plays. The Governor's Office of Storm Recovery also just gave us a new HVAC and a generator because during Hurricane Sandy, hundreds of people literally slept in our building because they were flooded out. So we're thankful for that. And so we'd like our relationship to continue with the county, even though an RFP was released for a new lessor to come to the building. But I don't want you to hear from me how great the center is. Members of the community would like to share their views, so I'm going to actually turn the microphone over to them. Thank you for your time.
Legislator Copel.
Yes, Brent, come on back for a moment. As you know, Brent, I'm very familiar with the center. I've been working with not only with current management, but with previous management going back, I'll say about 10, 12 years. Well aware of what's going on, well aware of the difficulties that are inherent with the RFP, which require a significant cash infusion. I understand that, and I'm working with your board. As you know, I've met with you a number of times. Can't announce anything yet, unfortunately, but we are hopeful that we'll be able to come to a solution that is going to enable the community center and its members to continue some of its very good, very important work. The kitchen is wonderful. I'm just mentioning one or two of them. The work that the center did during Sandy, it's going back a ways, but I still remember that. I still appreciate that. So be patient. Hopefully, real soon, maybe we come to a good solution that preserves the benefits of the center and hopefully makes it even better for the entire community.
Thank you for that.
Legislator Solange.
Thank you. Hi, Brent. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who came here from the Five Towns Community Center and the Inwood and the greater Five Towns community. To be clear, is it in the capacity of your organization, the nonprofit, to make a significant capital contribution to the county? Is that feasible?
Not at this time, no.
What are you expected to raise?
The RFP says $5 million.
Okay, understood. And has the board, is the board contemplating or preparing to submit a proposal?
I can't speak for the board, but I believe they are looking at all avenues for us to remain in this space, yes.
Are there any proposals that put it on paper in black and white that the Five Towns Community Center board will have a future at the community center?
I think that is a possibility, but I'm not able to speak about that, so I'm not sure. I would need my board president here to speak on that.
Understood. Has there been efforts in the past to bring a medical facility to the Five Towns Community Center?
So we operate one section of the building. There was a section there where there was a medical facility at one time. It was over a decade now. And I believe there have been some interest from different hospitals, but nothing has panned out at this time, no.
Do you understand, are there any proposals from any medical facilities to submit a proposal in the RFP?
I'm not aware of who submitted proposals. That information hasn't been shared with us.
Based on the community interests that this has garnered, and there's been a lot of community interests, is the community asking for more time for the RFP? Are they asking that the RFP process be reconsidered?
Yes, the Board of Directors did send a letter to Mr. Blakeman asking that the RFP be held at this time.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. Angel Brand.
Hi, my name is Angel Brand. I'm a resident of Inwood, New York, and I attend Lawrence High School. The Five Towns Community Center has been a very important piece of my life. When my parents had just started their new life in this country, they were looking for more opportunity. And the one place that caught their attention was the Five Towns. My parents really wanted me and my sister to excel and have opportunities that they did not have as being and growing up in a third world country. My mom found the community center. It was a warm, affordable land of opportunity to jumpstart the American dream they seeked. I have experienced the services from both points of view, as the one receiving and as the one giving. When I was a child, I was enrolled in the Head Start program, and this is where I learned how to speak, read, and write English as a second language. I was also able to get a literal head start when it came to math, science, and enrichment. And now jumping forward to when COVID hit, all I wanted to do was get out of my house. My mom told me one day that she was going to volunteer at the food pantry, Gammy's Pantry. I tagged along with her, and to be honest, I kind of wanted to go home the minute I got there. I'm not very much a people person, and when I first got there, there was a line of, I'm not like over-exaggerating, hundreds of people. And somehow we maintained COVID protocols, which I really have respect for the community and the Five Towns. I did not understand why my mom wanted to help out the community so much as I wanted to go home. I realized that I was fortunate enough to have food in my fridge, fruits, fresh bread, and everything. And then one day, my mom was serving food with me, and I want to say almost all the people here who have shown their support, who have come every day, spent their afternoons after work coming to volunteer at the food pantry, I saw a mother and two children. That reminded me of my mother, my sister Natalie, and me when we were younger. I then realized that the reason why my mom had come every single day, she spent hours. My mom, honestly, she wouldn't eat. This is because she didn't want anybody to go through what she had to go through. She saw people who came to this country just like her and who needed help. And now that I'm entering college, I've put everything that I've done with the community center on my college resume. I've been offered many scholarships and even an acceptance into my dream school. And this is all just because I was able to receive services from the Five Town Community Center. And even though on paper, this seems like it's the best possible thing for me to gain from my experience, but the real gift that I was given from this experience was my voice. If I hadn't experienced serving hundreds of people, then I don't think I would be able to be standing here right in front of all of you. The community center is really a safe space for us teens, children, adults, and seniors. I do not think we can be told to be patient when we don't know what the future of our community is going to look like. Thank you.
Jaden Emery.
My name is Jaden Emery. I'm a student at Lawrence High School and a resident of the Five Towns. It outrages me that there has yet to be an offer for the renewal of the lease of the Five Towns Community Center, given it is such a vital resource of our community. Many within the Five Towns, especially the town of Inwood, which is the center located within, are below the poverty line are senior citizens and are fighting to make ends meet on a day-to-day basis. However, it is not only the lease renewal that outrages me, but the perception our county executive holds on our center and his statement his assistant Chris Boyle made, as I quote, that the center has failed to live up to their obligations, which is problematic. The center has done nothing but left me, This statement has done nothing but left me with confusion, for the center has always held up with their obligations. If saving citizens and the youth of the community from starvation and giving many employment opportunities throughout the program ran in the community center isn't living up to their obligations, then please explain to me what it is your county expects from the community center more. Bruce Blakeman also had made a statement with Channel 12 News today that he is worried about the youth colliding with the people that come for AA and whatnot to the community center, yet there has been nothing that he has done to prevent this. And also, might I add, that children within the programs of the community center are closely monitored and remain on presence as long as they are there. There is no collision between the adults and the children. Might I also add that the people that attend these AA and whatnot are also the aunts and uncles, fathers and mothers of these children, and without the help of the center, without the help of the center, these parents, these aunts, these uncles would not be able to get the help that they needed, and the children would suffer. I noticed that we are here today to congratulate those who removed gangs off the street, recognize diversity, and recognize those who started community events. Might I add that that is what exactly the community center does on a daily basis. We have been taken advantage of by a few powerful lawmakers for too long, leaving us in despair and desperate for change. This is a sick game. I'd go as far to say a game of life or death. If not, the center remains in place, the people of the community will suffer. It is truly sickening that us residents of the Five Towns are subject to going through such worries at this time. Thank you.
Keita Goldsby.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lakita Steele, born and raised in Wood, New York. So my children, I'm just going to tell you a bunch of things that the community center has done for me. I was a teen parent. When I was 16, they had a program called Lawrence 2000 where I would go once a week or once a month and pretty much prepare me for parenthood. Besides, you have your parents there to help you and your grandparents, but they prepared me. The community center has given me my first job, and when I finished school, I went back and got a job there as well. I also became a youth organizer as well as gained my leadership skills. So my children have went to the daycare center there. My youngest child was in the day camp there with children like Angel, being amazing counselors, camp counselors for them, which my son is dying to go back. He doesn't want to go to any other camp but the Five Towns Community Center. Just to talk about a little things, I actually was as well on the other end. I was a child there. I went to the daycare, I went to the Head Start, I went to the camp as well. And without the community center, I wouldn't be where I am today. I have a bachelor's from St. John's University in business with a minor in mass communications. I have a master's degree from Full Sail University, and I have one more year left for my doctoral at Capella University for human services with concentration in leadership and organizational management. So without the community center, I probably would be one of these kids or gangbang members or whatever in the streets without their guidance and their help. Thank you.
Eloise Thomas. Eloise Thomas.
Good evening. Thank you all for having me here. Tonight I'm going to speak from the heart. I do have something I written in 2007 when this same attack on the community center happened. And if I have a chance, I will read it. But I would like to address Bruce Blakeman, who I believe in 2019 came to the Inwood Buccaneers at the invitation of Pete Sobel. And you came directly over to me and shook my hand and said, "So wonderful to see you again," because it had been a while. Since I became a citizen of this country, I've always voted for you, Bruce. I'm a registered Democrat. Most of you here, Republicans, Democrat, I voted for. And this last time, I was conflicted because it was a very tight race. And you, Bruce, requested of our community to support you in exchange that the community center will be with the community and its residents. Please don't disappoint me. I voted for you. I always voted for you. I want to say that our hands have been tied behind our backs for at least the last 20, 30 years since with the lease. We have been running the clock out and playing this game, not the lease is coming. We have not had any meetings with the community to tell us what is your intentions. 116 years cannot be discounted. 116 years cannot be forgotten. 116 years cannot be written off with 50 years in comparison. I have the opportunity to work for the community center for 7 years. It was the best job. I have an opportunity to work for the Episcopal Diocese of New York as an accountant. And I was lucky to have 2 jobs that I love. But I was seeing these people are the hardest working people I've come across. They make chicken salad out of chicken poop, literally. I work for an organization that had hundreds of millions of dollars, and they have nothing. Our hands have been tied behind our back. We, the residents, deserve to put a bid in for this community center. We can take care of our future. This was given to us as a gift by Russell Sage at the request of Sylvia Lord for his wife, Margaret Olivia Sage. It belongs to the community. It cannot be taken away. You can't run the clock out. I supported you, Bruce, and most of you on this panel. As a Democrat, I do not vote down the party line. Please do not disappoint me tonight. I have faith in this body that we will have a chance to put in our bid for our $5 million. We will find money. This belongs to the community, and we have the right to make sure that our future can go for 2,107. Our children deserve to recognize us today, just like Sylvia Lord, Margaret Sage, and Russell Sage. Thank you.
Natalie Brand.
Good evening. I would just like to thank everyone who is present today for their time. For those of you who do not know who I am, I would like to briefly introduce myself. My name is Natalie Brand, and I've lived in the Five Towns Community Center essentially my entire life. I've seen how much this community has done for me and for others, and it truly saddens me that there's a possibility that it may no longer be here. At 3 years old, I was able to learn English and get the support that I needed to start pre-K. People like Ms. Helen, who is present here today, at the Head Start program guided my path early on for success. The summer camp is also another resource at the Five Towns Community Center that has given children an outlet to blossom their creativity and learn new skills. Fortunately, I was able to be a camp counselor and see the goals and the ambitions of these children at such a young age. Finally, Gammy's Pantry is a resource where I spent 7 days a week packing fruits and vegetables and bread to give to our local families. A place where I was able to see the impact of our work when the line for food went down the street. Anyone is able to get help regardless of race, gender, and religion. One experience that really affected me was when this man came outside of pantry hours looking for food. He said his daughters were crying at home because they had no food or water. I will never forget the desperation in his voice. Without the tireless efforts of many in the community, I would not be here today standing before you as a sophomore with a full ride at Columbia University. I used to believe that someone like me could never accomplish what I have, but now I realize that anyone who has the ambitions and the support can live in the dreams that they create for themselves. My story is just one of many. Politics aside, if I could leave you all with at least one thought, it is that closing the community center would cause disruption to what is the only stable thing in people's lives. Many are dependent on the various services and programs offered. If the interests of the community are truly at heart, then the center must stay. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Natalie. The Reverend Gregory Stanislaw.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. You know, tonight, I'm Dr. Gregory K. Stanislaw, the pastor of the St. John Baptist Church in Inwood, Long Island, 26 years. And I'm going to say what we witness here tonight is not just the greatness of America, but Nassau County in terms of what community really is. And what we've seen is police officers being honored for the great work that they do in terms of keeping us safe. But then to see these two young ladies go to Yale because of the work that's done as superintendents and teachers. But then the heartbreaking story of a woman who lost her granddaughter to fentanyl. So community comes together. I come to you stand because of the Five Towns Community Center, where many of my parishioners go and were able to eat throughout the entire pandemic. I saw police officers go into the Five Towns Community Center and create that organization there called PAL and build relationships with young men and young women and give them hope for a new day. My concern is that when you shut something down such as that, or where there's no longer any access to a community center like that, where are they supposed to go? Then we complain about them being on the streets and doing things they should not be doing. They need positive relationships that came from the police officers and the staff of the Five Towns Community Center. Now, Mr. Blakeman has just inherited this situation, but prior administration, to be very honest, had the responsibility of taking care of the community center, repairs and so forth, which they have not done. And since they have not done that, you can't really bring certain programs in because the building itself is in disrepair. And so the narrative is now that the staff didn't really do a great job. They did the very best job that they could when the other part of the partnership didn't do their part. And so now we come to this. There's a possibility that we're asking him to consider extending the lease so that they can continue to do the work, with even playing field. Now, even if the board or whoever is considering a partnership, I'm concerned about the word partnership because in my marriage, a partnership is equal. But outside of that, I'm concerned that they're going to relegate the Five Towns to a certain center, and the proposal, and maybe, I want you to look at it because you're the bosses, you can handle this. They are considering a fee to join the community center, to take part in some of the activities. This is a community that is suffering with low-income families. People are just struggling, trying to make ends meet. So what's the difference if you take it away? You say, well, we're not taking it away, but we're going to make it a community center that's so grand that you have to pay a fee to be part of it. It's the same thing. So I'm asking you, whichever one of those things are going, if you're not going to extend the lease, then be careful about who takes partnership, because I believe the partnership is about creating almost like a club for certain people. And we already understand the community is shrinking for people like black and brown people. We need to reconsider this stuff and understand that Inwood is a beautiful community, and it is peaceful, and that's exactly the way we want to keep it. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Don Giorgio. Giorgio?
I'm Don Giorgio. My topic is not as dire as a community center or as somebody that is in some kind of mental state because their granddaughter died, but it is about community. It's about a property that Nassau County acquired a number of years ago, and that property has yet to realize its full potential to Nassau County and to all those people that are trying to support it. I live in Nassau County. I am a business owner in Nassau County, and I'm looking for the county to commit more deeply to what they already have. What's at stake? It is a property that is in Brookville and Jericho that was leased out. The lease ran out. I appeared here about 2 years ago discussing the issues of that particular property and what it needs and what it means to the community. 2 years later, the person, the lessee, has passed away. And the county is letting some unknown person manage a property that is valuable to the community, has as a resource to people that are there in Nassau County. So what's at stake? There are jobs at stake for this particular property. It's an equestrian center that involves horses and care and the opportunity to serve a lot of children. We hear stories about a community center and kids that need a function, need a program, need to do things. This property could offer that. You have adults that don't golf in Nassau County, as many golf courses there are. They have other sports and activities that they can participate in. This property was purchased for that particular purpose with a promise to the person that sold it, Mrs. Discount, that it would always be enjoyed as an equestrian park to the benefit of the public and serving Nassau County and the people in that county. Right now, it's treated more a little bit like an exclusive country club instead of benefiting children, adults, lessons, education, outreach to the community that would benefit kids that need an activity. And we're talking about people today that have been starved by COVID for human interaction and activity that they could enjoy. And animals, if we look at mental health and everything and what an animal can do for people and their mental health, is part of that. And having a place like this that is a jewel that's been underserved and underutilized for one reason or another, it's left and languished because of a lack of direction, a lack of vision. I, as a county resident, I'm an avid equestrian. I have 3 horses. I compete. I have a national ranking. I have to drive 40 minutes to Suffolk County to a state-owned facility in order to enjoy my hobby, when there's a center right here that's 20 minutes away from me in Massapequa. And for some reason, it's gotten languished and caught up in a political quagmire that I have no idea why or what for. And I understand what everyone's talking about and how important your stuff is, and I appreciate it. Come ride a horse. You'll have a good time with that, and you'll enjoy it for your kids. Because it's part of Nassau County that we should all enjoy. So thank you. I'm sorry.
Jacqueline Pfeiffer. Jacqueline Pfeiffer.
I know some of you from past meetings we've had over a good number of years. I'm going to speak briefly from myself, and Robin couldn't make it here, so if you don't mind, I'll read her statement to you. The Nassau Equestrian Center was purchased in 2008 for $12 million for the purpose of preserving open space and providing an equestrian facility open to the public with public events and offering affordable boarding and lesson programs. For the past 5 years, it has been subleased to a high-end private boarding facility with no public riding lessons, no public programs, and discouraged public access with an electric gate at the entrance with no signage that this is a county facility open to all. In April of 2021, the Nassau County Legislature rejected the proposed new 10-year contract awarded to the previous leaser. He unexpectedly died in December of 2021, and over the past year, the facility has been managed on a temporary extension to his son, Joe Rizzo. Unfortunately, it is impossible to reach Joe via phone, website, or at the barn. I recently paid a visit because a friend told me there were several empty stalls available. This is only partly true. There are 3 empty stalls, but they are unusable because the outside wall is collapsing and it is unsafe to put horses there. And since Joe is there on a temporary basis, he is understandably reluctant to invest in extensive repairs. If a horse or a person gets injured on the property now, under this extension, if anybody gets hurt, Joe is simply a caretaker. He was never on any previous contract, or has he been vetted by the county. Would the county be liable for that lawsuit? The 3 major barns on the property were built in the 30s and 40s, and the termites have had over 80 years to do their damage. I have previously boarded at Old Mill for over 25 years and know the facility well. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, but Nassau County has a golden opportunity right now to ensure the future of this property by crafting a new RFP and requesting bids to replace at least one of the barns with a new structure. This is a beautiful facility with an indoor ring for year-round riding, several rings with all-weather footing, numerous paddocks to turn out, fields to ride on, and a connection to the trail system of the 500-acre Muttontown Preserve. Years ago, they held horse shows here twice a year and hosted one of the first European-style Grand Prix in the big ring. Our equestrian group has offered numerous times to assist the county in formulating a comprehensive RFP and contract that would reflect the intention of the original purchase. This facility is not an office or an apartment building, and Nassau County should not be expected to understand all the nuances of managing an equestrian facility with live animals and public programs. But through our combined lifelong involvement in the equestrian life of Long Island, we can offer guidance in crafting an RFP and contract that will ensure the future of NEC. Nassau County has already written 2 other RFPs and contracts since 2008, and with a few corrections and additions could have these new documents ready in just weeks. We are available at your convenience to get this done immediately and to begin to realize a bright new future for Nassau Equestrian Center. And now I'm speaking for Robin Snow.
No.
Pardon me?
That's not permitted. If she has a statement, you can provide it to the clerk, and we'll make it part of the record.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I
No
thought I
problem.
could speak for her.
No
Okay,
issue.
no problem. I
Okay.
have already given it to her.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll make it part of the record. Christina Weber.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time. It's actually Christina Tobacco. That is my last name, and I do not smoke. I am here to speak about Nassau Equestrian Center, and I'm going to speak from a slightly different angle. I'm not sure, any of you guys go to Belmont Park for the races, ever? Yes? Awesome. If you've ever gone on Triple Crown Day, which is the last leg of the famous race, if there's a Triple Crown contender like there was several years ago, there was 20,000 people in attendance that day. On a non-Triple Crown Day, there's 89,000 people. They come from out of state, they come from across the country, and they spend money in Nassau, and I know it's half Queens, half Nassau County. I just want you to understand the impact that the equestrian industry provides for New York and Nassau County. A study was done in 2017 by the American Horse Council. It doesn't break it down by county, but it does break it down by New York State. Just in racing alone, there's 19,000 people employed in racing in New York State. That's $3 billion in annual revenue. That's billion with a B. Governor Hochul just announced 2 days ago a $455 million plan to update Belmont Park. There's a lot of money here in horses. At the end of the day, the race horses that leave Belmont Park and can no longer race are often adopted or purchased by people here on Long Island, trainers and owners. Where do those horses have to reside? Well, in Nassau County, that is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Nassau Equestrian Center represents one of the last commercial barns that is relatively affordable. Now, I know you look at equestrians and you think, oh my God, they are rich snobs. If I owned a boat or an RV, you probably wouldn't say that. Where I choose to spend my money, and by the way, I live in Huntington Station. I'm not rich. I am like working class. Where people choose to spend their money shouldn't really matter. Another thing to put in perspective, and I mentioned this the last time I was here 2 years ago, if you're familiar with West Hills County Park, just over the border in Huntington, there was the former Sweet Hills Equestrian Center, which was mismanaged for years. to the tune of multi-million dollars in remediation to remove poisonous dirt that was dumped there illegally. It made Newsday. I'm sure you guys remember it. That was due to lack of oversight. I am here representing the Nassau-Suffolk Horsemen's Association. I'm the president. I'm also a director for the New York State Horse Council. So when I tell you that I'm here and I'm passionate and I want to be involved in the future of Nassau Equestrian Center, the first RFP that was put out was brilliant. There were so many things for the community. The last point I'm going to make, I'm also a real estate agent, and what I focus on, one of the things we focus on are where people going and where people are coming from. People are moving from the city to Long Island. People are fleeing the state because they can't keep their horses on Long Island. And Nassau Equestrian Center needs to be one of those places, and it should be. Thank you for your time. Go to Belmont Park.
Celine Castrovilla. Celine? Nope. Okay. Emil Varani.
Good evening. My name is Emil Varani. I'm from Valley Stream. I wanted to speak in regards to the latest redistricting maps, but beforehand I just wanted to thank people from the community center for coming. As a former Lawrence High School graduate and as somebody who was a part of the community center program in 7th grade, I deeply support your efforts, and I hope that there's a resolution here. So thank you so much. No problem. And thank you especially to Ms. Sasha Young. I saw her efforts, especially during COVID, helping out with Gammy's Pantry. And personally, I think the 5 Towns is really lucky to have Sasha. So just on a personal note, just wanted to mention that. I wanted to speak in regards to the latest redistricting maps and my concern about the maps in its current form. When I opened the Excel file, which glad the files are now up there, I know that there was an issue early on in the redistricting process. I saw only 4 majority-minority districts, and I find this very concerning. Many speakers, including myself, at previous hearings had voiced the need for at least 5 majority-minority districts, and we don't have that. As well, I wanted to talk about the division of Millbrook and the division of Valley Stream. Particularly in Millbrook's case, the lines don't really make sense, and I think from a legislative perspective, making sure that the lines make sense to residents makes it very easy for them to address any of the issues that they're having. There's no difference, even though I'm not from Millbrook, there's no difference, and I don't know why Millbrook was split up, as well as the village of Valley Stream. And villages such as Hempstead, which was really noted in Newsday, is very concerning. And overall, that in itself is really just showing how this map in its current form is just asking the county asking for people to bring expensive litigation, as the current maps violate the Voting Rights Act and the New York State John Lewis Voting Rights Act. So I asked the county to fix these maps so that way we can avoid that litigation and not have that, because it's not something the county really should be, it's not something that we should be investing our money in, especially when a solution is definitely attainable and we can definitely avoid that litigation. So thank you.
Richard Libby.
Hi, I'm here to talk about the 5 Towns Community Center. Originally, when the county got the title, the property was donated by the people from the center to the county in order for the county to do tax-exempt bond financing and build a new building. They then put in Nassau County Medical Center, which was the healthcare center, but somehow when it was switched over, it was removed, which is a horrible thing. The center actually feeds, I believe, like 5,000 people. I think they gave away 1.5 million pounds of food. It's a horrible thing that they're coming up with this idea of the $5 million. The RFP should either be postponed or canceled, you should enter into a time period where the community center can maintain and raise money, because under the county lease, the money that they raise there goes into the county general fund. So they're always at a losing proposal. It doesn't profit them to do anything. Every time they try to work on something, if they have all these things, they can go out and get grants and stuff like that. But if they could outsource part of the property for themselves, they can make money from the property. They, as the former owners of it, the county, when they took the title, they signed the lease, and I guarantee you the people who entered into the agreement weren't as sophisticated as the county people who were taking it in there. And in good faith, there were two ministers, and they signed, one signed the lease in 1970, and then the second parcel was signed in 1974. They were ministers. One lived in basically 385 Bayview Avenue, which was a HAP project. So I don't think that they were as attuned or as cunning as the county people who were negotiating with them, and they didn't think 50 years would really end that fast. So in their mind, when they set it up, it was like such a long time period. The county has been, people since Jeff Toback was trying to give the property or sell the property to the JCC. Now, I know the JCC is trying to open up something in the community center, saying they want to put a pool in there and everything else, but they just actually did one on Central Avenue. So why don't they open that facility up to everyone from Inwood so they could use it? They don't need to put another pool or any other expansion of the money there. I mean, the county at one time, they put tennis courts in there when it's basically a soccer playing area. They had to rip out the tennis courts and put basically the soccer field back in there. The county ripped off the roof of the building prior to a hurricane, which allowed water infiltration to come into the building. They have been basically neglecting the maintenance of it and then turn around and blame the people for not doing the proper procedure. If they came out, and as I said, the taxpayers paid for the whole thing. It's not the county's money, but the taxpayers' money. We need this center in here in order to honor Black History Month, because they actually serve most of the Black people and Hispanic people. They're working on that. And Mrs. Ford, just in another point, when the Atlantic Beach Bridge, my grandfather in the 30s went to legalize it, 1938 when Nassau County became a county, he went to legalize it because they were going to sell it as a profit center because it was a part of the original part of Atlantic Beach. They built it, and then they came around and turned it, and the county ended up buying the bridge for 3 years of the gross revenue. Wow. So that's how that came back in there. But I would like it if you guys would extend either the RFP, because you only gave them a month and a half to put a proposal in there. Remove the $5 million and give them a new lease for 5 years without the restriction of the financial component that you guys make all the money go to the general fund. Okay. It should go to the people in this center.
All right, thank you, Mr. Libby.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Presiding Officer, real briefly. Thank you. As a point of clarification, Mr. Libby, thank you very much for coming, and thank you for everyone here from the Community Center for all the work that you do. As a point of clarification, the RFP was issued by the county executive, and this body just votes on the proposal, their pick. So when that comes before this body, I will be supporting the proposal that supports the community. And if it doesn't support the community, then I have grave concerns.
Just so you, another point. Just another thing.
I just want to mention
the county has gotten 3,800 petitions.
There's statements being made to Blakeman. He's not here. Again,
3,800 petitions to extend the lease or cancel the RFP, and there's just a new effort on it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Libby.
So,
we appreciate it.
I mean, they're not getting any response.
Okay. Charlene Thompson. Two more.
Good evening. Once again, my name is Charlene Thompson. I'm here to speak about redistricting. So I did take a look at the report. I got a chance to look through it, and I do readily recognize 4 majority-minority districts, but I was, for a point of information, would you be able to clarify what the 5th one that has been identified? I have 1, 2, 3, and 6. I'm not sure which is the 5th. Because it doesn't specify that in the report. Just to go on, one of the things that when we look at redistricting every 10 years, we talk about what political legacy are we creating over the next 10 years. And we look back at the last 10 years. A lot of people who were here 10 years ago are not here anymore. But the legacy that they created still stands with us. Peter Smith, Judy Jacobs. And so now today with this new map, you guys are shifting the paradigm here. And one of the things that I recognize is that you are redrawing some of these traditional district lines that have been in place since the legislature became 19 legislative districts. And I, for one, think that's a good thing, because what I believe it will do is promote healthy political competition and not allow incumbents that have served for decades to get too comfortable, because when incumbents get comfortable, then they stop necessarily paying attention and serving the community's interest. So I'm not adverse to political competition, and I look forward to one of the things I would encourage both sides is that we need to groom some young folks to step up and be ready to take advantage of these opportunities as they arrive. I don't see enough of that being done on either side of the aisle. So I would encourage that. We do have some young people who are interested in stepping up, but they need the guidance and support of the more senior legislators to get them along the way and make sure they're ready to get out there and compete in a meaningful way, that they're involved and engaged in community activism. So I, for one, encourage healthy political competition, because political choices are a great thing. And I look forward to see how this is all going to shake out. So thank you for I'm a resident of Baldwin, so I know that that was one of the great things that we championed, that we wanted, for the most part, Baldwin to be in a whole. I see that Baldwin has been placed with Roosevelt. So that'll be interesting to see how that paradigm shift is going to evolve and promote political leadership. I look forward to keeping an eye on that. And so just one point of clarification, I want to see where the 5th district is, because it's not clear for me. But I'm looking forward to see what's going to come over the next 10 years and what kind of legacy we created. Presiding Officer Nicolello, I can say what I've seen so far is that you've governed fairly and inclusively, and for that we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Knopf. Jerry Kornbluth, Nassau Community College.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jerry Kornbluth. I'm the Vice President for Community and Governmental Relations. I just want to say a few words. You guys have inspired me to what you do in the community, and your passion is tremendous. And it's because of you that Nassau Community College has put the C back into Nassau Community College. We are committed to the community that we serve. Our mission is to change lives, to give students all the opportunities possible. And we work closely with the local school districts, we work closely with not-for-profit organizations, the business community, and all other communities in the county. One of the departments at Nassau Community College, the sociology department, came to me with a proposal about teaching some classes in the correction facility. And I went to see Sheriff Anthony LaRocca. He embraced the idea, and right now I just want to share with you, we're teaching a credit course in the corrections facility as an introduction to sociology class that is an online class. Hopefully it works out well. We're looking to work out the kinks in it right now, and hopefully we'll be able to offer many more courses within the correction facility. And I just have to say that Sheriff LaRocca was fantastic in giving us that opportunity and allowing us to come in there and to work this program, because the one institution that we want to try to change is the criminal institution. We want to be able to give students the opportunity and open up their eyes to see what it's like to be in an institution of higher education. And I think that this is the beginning, and this is what Nassau Community College does. So I want to thank you for your time, and I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you, Jerry. Susan Goddard.
Good evening. My name is Susan Goderer. I'm the director of the Nassau County, New York Civil Liberties Union. I'm not here to speak about redistricting, but I am here to see the vote. Mr. Ferretti, it was really nice to see you show up at 3 o'clock this afternoon and miss most of the public comment, but I digress. I would like to call attention to all the pieces that have come together here tonight. We've had a community center asking for help. We had police officers that were being highlighted for their heroic behavior and doing their jobs. I really just want to point out that this is a moment of putting your money where your mouth is on two different fronts. If you talk about public safety and you are concerned about public safety, then you will do everything you can to help that community center. Because front-loading the system with policing and incarceration has been what we've been doing since the Nixon years, and it doesn't work, and it has nothing to do with community safety. So if your campaigns talk about community safety and you don't help this community center, that's what helps community safety. That's exactly what helps community safety. Okay? That's number one. Number two, if you're going to talk about Black History Month and then you're going to vote on these maps, I think that might be all I have to say on that. I think you get it, okay? Number three, the jail. I have a lot to say about the jail. I've said it all before. I'm getting a little tired of only hearing about caring about the corrections officers at the jail. Again, public safety. Public safety is about using incarceration to prepare people when they come out. If you care about public safety and you put that in your campaign ads, then put programs into that jail. Number one, as public safety committee members, I've asked you repeatedly, look into the medical provisions at the jail, look into the records, look into all of those things. Because the conditions in those jails that we hear the corrections officers complaining about is where these people live. 70% of them pre-trial. And if you think that putting people into an atmosphere like that and then expecting them to come out and act like regular members of the community with no support, then you don't care about community safety. So if you're going to put community safety in your campaign ads, then put your money where your mouth is. Tonight has just shown the whole thing, and it's going to end with the vote on the maps.
Item 18, resolution number 37. It's a resolution to confirm the county executive's appointment of Anthony LaRocco to the position of Sheriff of Nassau County. Motion by Legislator Giuffre, seconded by Legislator Ferretti. Motion is before the legislature. Mr. LaRocco.
If I may, I'd like to read something into the record, please. Good evening, honorable members of the legislature. My name is Anthony LaRocco, and I am the acting sheriff. Before returning to this position, I held the position of undersheriff from January of last year and had a long career in this very department. I began my journey in 1986 in the enforcement division as a deputy sheriff. I was part of a recruit class to be the very first deputy sheriffs to ever enter into the police academy. In early summer of 1990, our class of 20 were ordered into the correctional center to cover posts due to budget issues affecting many departments at that time. We worked alongside correction officers in various positions throughout the correctional center. In the years that followed, I rose through the ranks from deputy sheriff to sergeant to lieutenant and finally to captain, which were all civil service tested positions. In 2000, I was appointed to the title of Deputy Undersheriff, which I held for 1 year. During my career, I supervised every aspect of the enforcement division, which included the field unit, landlord-tenant unit, warrant unit, and the family court unit. On September 6th of last year, I became the acting sheriff. As acting sheriff, I am tasked with the oversight of two equally important divisions, being the Enforcement Division and the Division of Corrections, and must share my time accordingly between both. Some of my accomplishments in this short period of time include the promotions of 56 individuals, which included 6 captains, 16 lieutenants, 15 sergeants, and 20 corporals. This number of promotions made at one time has never happened in the history of the Sheriff's Department. I am also glad to announce that we have a class of 22 recruits join the ranks of correction officers, and also have an additional class of 17 that will also be joining the ranks sometime in April of this year. I am also in the process of replacing the entire fleet of vehicles for the Sheriff's Department. These promotions and hirings have had a positive effect on cutting overtime costs. From January 1st through February 24th of this year, the overtime costs were $1.6 million, as compared to this same time last year, which were $4.2 million. This is a realized savings of approximately 60%. And more importantly, in no way have these savings had any adverse effects regarding either the safety of the officers or the inmates. The care, custody, and control of inmates is our #1 objective, and we take that task very seriously. We're also in the process of adding additional security cameras throughout the correctional center to enhance safety for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Legislator Lafazan.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. LaRocca, for your prior service and your commitment to your future service.
Thank you very much.
Of course, as legislators, we wear different hats. We wear legislative hats, fiscal hats, investigatory hats, and, of course, oversight hats.
Right.
Though you will serve at the pleasure of the county executive, this chamber maintains oversight over the executive branch and over countywide departments such as yours. So your success as a leader is our success as lawmakers, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
But when it comes to the jail and our law enforcement professionals in COBA, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about morale issues that come month after month after month. I'm concerned about staffing issues. I'm concerned about the academy location. I'm concerned about the infrastructure at the jail. And I'm very concerned about an extremely questionable appointment that was made recently. Given this administration's decision-making so far when it comes to the jail, I have to vote no. But I wanted to wish you the best of luck. Your success is our success, and I hope you can work with President Sullivan and COBA with urgency, and I hope you have the courage to think differently and make change. So I wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else? Legislator Ford.
Good evening, Sheriff LaRocca. I want to thank you very much for giving us a brief history of your tenure at the jail already, and I also want to thank you to hear that you did put those outposts. You added the security, I guess, in that rear, which we had asked for. And I thank you very much for listening to some of the concerns that we brought to you, not only for our correctional officers, but also for the inmates, the people that do reside at the jail, and the concern for their safety and also for their well-being. And I know that there's a number of issues that we still need to work on, and I'm hoping that we can continue with this dialogue, that we methodically go after each issue so that we can make sure that we follow it to its completion and to the benefit of all, whether or not it's somebody who works there or somebody who is residing there. And I do appreciate the fact that you have responded, but I'm looking forward to working with you to ensure that we continue this dialogue and we finally get this jail up to the jewel that it was meant to be.
Thank you.
And I have to say, though, I also agree, even with the morale, and I know there were some issues that we brought up in regard to maybe a wellness committee taking a look at maybe bringing some other things, visitation changes there, and I'm hoping that you will seriously look at that and respond and help us so that we can get those things established, okay? Thank you. But I do intend to vote for you.
Thank you very much.
Reggie Whitten.
Hi, Sheriff. I also agree with my legislator Lafazan, my coworker. We do want to see you prove us wrong, but what I want to do is say that it's really important to have bipartisan communication. I understand that you recently met with the majority members of the Public Safety Committee, and being ranking for the minority, I wasn't aware that you were meeting and having an open dialogue. So I have no idea what you even discussed. I don't know if you have any updates. I don't know if you had any of the answers that we asked you at the hearing, but we were not included in that. And I just don't think that's the right way to go about garnishing our support or working out situations. We really, it's not that we just have concerns that are not grounded. I mean, I sat here as a legislator for years hearing about, one death after another when we were having the health issues. We were worried about different things as far as disciplinarian-ish subjects, and I have no idea if you talked about it with them, but if you did, we weren't granted that privilege. So all I can say is, I don't know what else to say other than you really need, if you want our support and you want us to work with you, we need to be included in these meetings. I'm actually just heard about it today for the first time. So I hope that you're doing a good job as being sheriff. I hope that you're using your own mind. I always hear you're a smart man. I know you can depend on yourself, and I hope you are. And I hope that you are the sheriff in town. And but again, we really have a lot of concerns about the jail. Fellow legislator Silabino has been the real backbone of the effort to try to make improvements. And the fact that we had no idea that you were meeting is really just sending the wrong message, in my opinion. So I'm also not going to be able to support your nomination, but I really, it can only go up from here. So I hope that you take this opportunity to work with us and respond to us and hear our concerns. Thank you.
Okay. Any other legislators? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, passes by a vote of 11 to 7. Congratulations, Sheriff.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next two items are 17 and 22. They are resolutions number 36 and 41, both of which are to confirm the appointment of John DeGrace as a member of the Nassau Community College Board of Trustees. Moved by Legislator Walker, seconded by Legislator Coppell. John?
Thank you very much, Mr. Presiding Officer. Ladies and gentlemen of the legislature, it's a pleasure to be here. I have served on the board at the college for about 8 years. I took a brief hiatus, and I'm looking forward to getting back to business at the board. I love the college. My major concern is for the students of the college and bringing in as many new students as possible. And I'd also like to say hello to my former trustee buddy, Arnie Trucker. Nice to see you, Arnie. He moved up the ladder. I didn't. I got a demotion. But thank you very much. Any questions?
Yeah. Legislator Coppell and Legislator Drucker.
Yes, thank you. I've had the privilege of knowing John now about 15 years. John and Barbara, actually. And ever since I've known you, you've been doing nothing but public service. You've been devoted, and that's a family that's devoted to public service. Barbara, I served with you on the Valley Stream Chamber of Commerce. You're a very active member. So this is a family that has done nothing but work for the betterment of the county of Nassau and our people. And so I think that at this point we're just lucky that you're willing to still come back and do more work for us and more work for the wonderful students at the college. College is lucky to have you. We're lucky to have you, and thank you for serving.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Howard.
Legislator Drucker.
Thank you, Presiding Officer John. Welcome back. You know,
thank you, Mr. Trucker.
It really is a pleasure for me to have this opportunity to recognize and offer my support for your appointment back on the board. I met John about 2012, so about 11 years ago. We served on the board together, and I'm not reticent to say that John and I are of different political persuasions, okay? But I never found a more endearing, friendly, good-hearted man that I consider a friend than John DeGrace. When it came to the college and the students, there was no politics involved. Your concern, your commitment was to the betterment of the college and to the students primarily. And I always recognized that, and I think that's why you and I got along so well. I think we loved sharing quotes from the Godfather movies, if you remember correctly. That was one of our favorite pastimes. But one of the lines from one of the Godfather movies comes to mind now. Just when Al Pacino said, "Just when you think you're out of this life, they pull you back in," right?
That's right. Exactly. Well, thank you very much.
So
Thank you.
I consider you a friend, and more importantly, as Legislator Coppell said, the college is lucky to have you. The students are lucky to have you, and I think you're going to continue in that work. And I will ask you as a personal favor, John, that you and the fellow members of the board try to work with the Full-Time Faculty Association.
Yes.
I think I'm speaking on behalf of all 19 of us. We all share in that. We want you to work together with them, and I hope that you'll do that. I know you will.
I'll do my very best.
And I want to congratulate you in advance, John. I think you're a great person, and I'm proud to call you a friend.
Thank you very much. It's reciprocal. Thank you very, very much.
Legislator Walker.
And John, I too am very excited to see you be part of this board again. And I know how much you love this county. I know how much you love the residents of this county. I know how much you love the college, and certainly the young people in this county that can utilize our community college and once again make it the jewel that it has been for many, many years. And I know enrollment has gone down, but I know you're going to look to every possible way that you can help build that enrollment, whether it's other programs that we can offer, whether it's maybe it's something that we let go and we should bring back. But I know you're going to do the best, and I look forward to working with you and anything we can do to help you and the college out.
Legislator Walker, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
John, I just want to add that you've always been very passionate about the college, and almost every time I've seen you, you've brought up an issue about the college for our consideration. But it's great to have somebody going back on with your experience. We're going to need that experience, that gravitas that you have going forward with the issues the college is facing, and also your ability to work with your board members and build consensus. I think that's invaluable. So we're very pleased that you'd want to come back and do this.
Thank you, Legislator Nicolello. Thank you.
Anyone else? Lafazan?
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Mr. DeGrace, I take Arnie Drucker's recommendations very seriously. He speaks the world of you, and I believe you're a wonderful man, and I wish you the best. I just wanted to explain why I'm abstaining. Like Sheriff LaRocca, you are a person of immense character, and I thank you for your prior service, and I congratulate you on your future service. But the teachers at Nassau Community for months, my alma mater, they've been crying out for change, and I think a statement needs to be made that the direction of the college needs to change and change quickly. So I wish you the best. You're going to be approved, and I look forward to working with you. Your success is our success and our students' success, and I thank you for serving.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
All right, let's go to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstentions, okay. Okay, so it's 13 yes votes and 5 abstentions. We're missing ones. Yeah. Okay. All right, congratulations.
Thank you very much, and have a great evening.
You too. Item 19, resolution number 38, a resolution to confirm the county executive's appointment of Gennaro Cesarano to the Assessment Review Commission. Motion by Legislator Ferretti, second by Legislator McKevitt. Gennaro?
Good evening. My name is Gennaro Cesarano. I'd like to thank the county legislator for allowing me this time. I want to thank the county executive for this appointment to the Assessment Review Commission. A little about me. I'm serving my second appointment on the Civil Service Commission for the town of Hempstead. I also own and operate a business in the county for the past 10 years. I look forward to bringing my business experience, my civil service experience to the county, working with my fellow board members to serve the people of Nassau County. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions?
How are you, Mr. Cesarano?
Very good. How are you?
Good. I guess following the tone of this evening, just to make sure that you are fully aware, we're not going to be able to support your appointment, but it has nothing to do with you personally. I'm sure you're a good person. You stand up for your community, and it looks like you're a good business owner. However, the county executive has not provided. We've been asking now for quite some time an assessment plan in terms of how we plan to go forward in this county in regards to managing assessments. As you may or may not know, there's been some errors that have been created. Nothing of magnitude that would rise to the level of the commission that you're going to be on to a large degree. But there were some errors in the last computation of assessment that has been done, and still we have not seen a plan. So our objection to you, or us not supporting you, is not directed at you. It's more directed at the fact that the county has not seen a plan. We have taken this course before with other folks that have been appointed to the Assessment Review Commission as well. So I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. But I wish you nothing but the best, and I wish you nothing but the success. And to quote Legislator Lafazan, your success is our success. It's like a popular line tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, officer.
Legislator Solange.
Thank you. Again, I had to vote along with my colleagues, but I have to say that every time I've been to your restaurant, you've treated me with the utmost respect. You've introduced me to Italian food I didn't know about. So again, I really appreciate you. It's nothing personal. Just we have a certain agenda when it comes to issues in the assessment department, things that we have not seen done by the county executive or the Republicans, but yet they complained about it profusely when we had a Democratic county executive. The assessment system has been frozen. We recently advocated for the extension of the deadline, which I'm happy the county executive granted. Again, nothing personal. You're a complete gentleman.
Thank you.
I think you got some of the best Italian food in Nassau County, but thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Legislator Ferretti.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. And I do want to speak highly of my friend Jerry. But before I do think it's important just to point out, and I'm not questioning the vote of the minority, but Jerry's being appointed to the Assessment Review Commission, which is independent of the Assessment Department. But nevertheless, Jerry, we've known each other for a very long time. I'm looking at your resume, and I see all the way back to 2003 when we worked together in the town of Hempstead for a couple years, and it's almost 20 years ago now, which is insane. Well, you look the same. I look 30 years older, so something's going on. But
life in politics for you.
No comment. But no, you're extremely qualified for the position. You have many years in public service, and I can personally attest to your character, your work ethic, and I know you're going to succeed at this position with flying colors. So preemptive congratulations, good luck, and glad we're working together again.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. So calling for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So it passes by a vote of 11 votes for and with 7 abstentions. Congratulations, Gennaro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 21, resolution number 40, a resolution to confirm the county executive's appointment of Louis DeGrazia to the Sewer and Stormwater Finance Authority. Moved by Legislator McKevitt, seconded by Legislator Giuffre.
Good evening. I'd like to thank County Executive Blakeman for selecting me for this appointment and for the legislative's review and time they spent in helping out the county residents. I've been doing public works work for 30 years for the Village of Freeport, Town of Hempstead, and I know the board very well. I've worked with Commissioner Arnold for 20 years on various projects, and I think I bring a perspective to this authority which is needed on this board right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any Legislator Muley?
Hi, Lou. How are you?
Hi, Deb.
It's wonderful to see that you're going to be here helping out the county. He was always the go-to person if we needed to know something. is this being done correctly? You always told it to us straight. So I know that you'll do a great job.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Very good. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? It passes unanimously. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
So we will go to the consent calendar now. These are items that went through committees a couple of weeks ago, and it's been agreed by the majority and minority that no further debate or discussion are needed at this time. Item 5, Ordinance 11. Item 7, Ordinance 20. Item 7, Resolution 26. 8, Resolution 27. 9, Resolution 28. 10, Resolution 29. 11, Resolution 30. 12, Resolution 31. 13, Resolution 32. 14, Resolution 33. 25, Resolution 44. 26, Resolution 45, 27, Resolution 46, 28, Resolution 47, 29, Resolution 48, 30, Resolution 49, 31, Resolution 50, 32, Resolution 51, 33, Resolution 52, 34, Resolution 53, 35, Resolution 54, 36, Resolution 55, 37, Resolution 56, 38, Resolution 57, 39, Resolution 58. Moved by Deputy Presiding Officer Coppell, seconded by Legislator Ford. All in favor of those items signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, they all pass unanimously. Now we're going back to item 1. It's a local law to amend Annex A of the County Government Law of Nassau County to describe the 19 legislative districts based upon the 2020 federal census data. Motion by Deputy Presiding Officer Coppell, seconded by Legislator Ford. That puts the item before us. However, we need an amendment in as much as a amended map was filed on February 21st, 2023, which incorporates the comments by legislators and public during the redistricting process. So basically, I need a motion to amend. Moved by Deputy Presiding Officer Coppell, seconded by Legislator Ford. Now, this is going to be a vote just on the amendment. It's not on the item as amended. So, all in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. 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 Those opposed? Okay. The amendment passes by a vote of 11-7. I would ask at this time that the transcripts of the hearings of the Rules Committee on January 17th and the full legislature from February 16th and today be incorporated by reference into the record. Any legislator want to speak? Sure. Minority Leader Abraham.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Thank you for incorporating the record from the previous hearing into this particular vote. I do have it's a question probably for you, Presiding Officer, as it pertains to Mr. Trendy's analysis. Was that analysis paid for with legislative TDAC money or legislative majority contractual money? I'm just trying to make sure I understand, is it something that's privileged or is it something that this entire body should be able to obtain?
Answer that by saying that we retained Mr. Salin's firm, Troutman Pepper, which retained Mr. Trendy, which uses Mr. Trendy. So it flows through the council that we retained.
Okay. And the council that you retained was paid for with TDAC commission resources?
No, as authorized by the charter and laws of the county, I, as presiding officer, retained Mr. Troutman Pepper.
So the resources come out of the legislative majority budget?
I don't believe they come out of the majority budget. I believe they come out of the county budget as a whole. It's through the county attorney's
The
office.
general fund?
Yes.
I'm just trying to figure out.
It's out of the county attorney's budget.
How do we get a copy of the analysis? If the analysis is privileged, then it's privileged, then we shouldn't get it. But if the analysis is something that's been paid for out of some type of redistricting fund, I think we would like to get it. I think we should be able to put it up on the county website, and it should be something that the entire public should have an opportunity to see, unless I'm mistaken.
It was paid. It was done through the offices of Troutman Pepper. So I am not sure what the legalities of that is, but as we discussed before, we have what we have offered, and we are ready to move forward in the process.
I'm sorry, President Officer. Let me try again. I'm not trying to be argumentative or competitive. So, how was Troutman Pepper paid?
It was paid out of the county attorney's budget.
Okay, so it's been paid out of the county attorney's budget?
Yes, of the county attorney's budget, the presiding officer has the power, as granted by the charter, to retain counsel, which I have done. So Mr. Saitlin, Troutman Pepper, is an attorney that I retained for the purpose of this process. And I would say that his services and his communications with me would be something that would be subject to attorney-client privilege.
That's interesting. I really don't have a comeback for that one. Well, I have a comeback, but I can't believe what we're doing. Okay. All right. I mean, I think it begs the question that the county attorney did not make known to the legislative minority that he was taking on Troutman Pepper on behalf of the majority. I would think the legislative minority is also privileged to that council, since the county attorney does represent us as well. And we were never made aware that Troutman Pepper was being hired, nor have we been privileged to the opportunity of seeing what Troutman Pepper had put together in regards to requesting Mr. Trendy to be a part of his analysis. I'm just saying, and I'll wrap up by saying this. You mentioned before earlier during the hearing that we in the legislative minority have been provided all the information that your side has, and obviously we have not. And this is a clear example of how we have not received any information, and we're actually a part of this body. I had no idea, there's been no memo that the county attorney, who apparently is only representing half of the legislature, or 12/19 of it, or 11/19, Mr. Rhodes is not here anymore, 11/19 of the legislature has chosen to not include the legislative minority. I wonder why. So from that standpoint, Presiding Officer, I understand the way that it went down. We're prepared to take the vote. I would just kindly ask that you allow the folks that are here that maybe didn't get a chance to speak earlier to incorporate them into the record. But to me, it's disheartening that we are at this point where we have not been included in this process. But thank you.
As I said, this is a power that's given to the presiding officer to retain counsel. There's 2 points I'd like to make, and the legislator already made this point earlier. It was announced by one of the Democratic commissioners to the TDAC at the very beginning that this is going to the courts. So that was a consideration that we took. Secondly, with the changes in the laws in New York State, with the new Court of Appeals decision in Harkenrider, the law is not what it was 10 years ago. So we wanted to make sure, as we looked at the TDAC process, that the process that was followed, the maps that were produced, would comply with those laws. So I, as presiding officer, retained the counsel that won the case at the Court of Appeals last year, for obvious reasons, because that counsel has experience in litigating this issue. It has been successful with the New York State Court of Appeals. That counsel has been advising me in developing this map for the legislature. The information that has been provided, the memos that have been provided to us have been made part of the record, and we're at the point, I believe, where we can vote.
Just as a point of clarification, Presiding Officer, the memos that have been provided to the legislature you have shared with us, but the analysis that was done by Mr. Trendy is only that's been hired at your direction to the county attorney's office has only been provided to your side.
Just to be clear, I hired Troutman Pepper. Mr. Trendy works with Troutman Pepper. So I hired Troutman Pepper, and his office works with Mr. Trendy, who was, again, provided analysis that was accepted by the Court of Appeals.
No, nobody's disputing what Mr. Trotman, I'm sorry, what Mr. Trendy has done. What I'm saying is Mr. Trendy has provided an analysis, I guess, to Trotman Pepper, to Mr. Salins. I'm assuming he's provided it to your side. However, the county attorney, which represents all of us, basically that money should be, that analysis should be provided to all of us, shouldn't it?
Well, you have those memos or what we have?
I'm not talking about the memos, Presiding Officer. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. There is a Sean Trendy analysis, which basically he has conducted, which is an ensemble approach, which he did 50,000 iterations of the map to determine, based on his expertise. We disagree with his expertise, but it's hard for me to publicly disagree with it because all I'm going based off is a description. But we disagree with his analysis based on what Dr. Magleby has testified a few weeks ago. That being said, that analysis is mentioned in the Trotman Pepper report, an analysis that has been paid for by the county attorney's office. However, that analysis, I haven't seen it. I'm asking a question to you. Have you seen it? Has your side seen it?
We have been provided what you have been provided, which is the conclusions of Mr. Trendy. Other than that, I've had conversations with my counsel, which I'm not going to disclose. But other than that, we've been provided with the conclusions that Mr. Trendy provided. It's in the memos. You have what we have.
Okay, so basically the county attorney's office authorized yourself and your side to pay for something, and you have not seen the analysis that you're paying for.
I have seen the summary, which is in the memo, the summary of the findings of Mr. Trendy. When I'm not a demographer, I'm not someone who can read and understand the data that's being used by somebody who is analyzing 50,000 variations of a possible maps in Nassau County. No, I did not get into the weeds. I did not see all 50,000 of the ensemble. No, I didn't. What I got was the conclusions after he reviewed the maps that were drafted. What we received is his conclusions, and those conclusions, as a matter of the record, fit well within the acceptable parameters and perform much better than those maps that were put forward by the Democratic members and Republican members of the commission.
So just to be, I just want to make sure.
I'm
okay,
done.
I'm sorry. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
I am done answering questions. I've said everything I'm going to say. If you want to make a statement, you're welcome to do it.
Well, I apologize, Presiding Officer, but I have to ask questions because you just brought to my attention that you basically use resources from the county attorney. As far as I am concerned, the county attorney represents everyone in the legislature, not just 11/19 of it. So from that standpoint, all of that information should have been provided to this legislative body immediately, not 5 minutes before a meeting. We should have been at the table, discussions. I was under the impression for weeks, if not months, that your side was paying for this out of the TDOT commission money, the leftover money that was unused by the commissioners, which would give you the authority to hire and bring in whoever you want. But for some reason, that wasn't the case. And now we're learning that the analysis that was done by Mr. Trendy, no one has seen. We've only seen a descriptive response put together by Trotman Pepper, who, as far as I'm concerned, was the litigator in the case in Harkenrider versus Hochul, but he was not. They were not actually the map drawers. So I just have to ask the question: how much was the Trotman Pepper analysis? Since the county attorney is paying for it and we should be represented by it, how much what was our portion? What was our 7/19 portion of that?
I am done answering your questions. I could tell you that, again, that the charter gives the presiding officer the power to retain counsel, which is what I did. And perhaps if Democrat commissioners at the beginning of the process weren't announcing that this is going to the courts, I wouldn't have needed to hire outside counsel. But the commissioners did, and others did, who are Democrat leaders, have said, rather matter-of-factly, it doesn't matter what you do, it's going to the court. So I did the prudent thing. As been mentioned time and time again, the expense of potentially paying prevailing wages is something that should be taken into consideration. So I went out and hired the counsel who successfully argued the case before the Court of Appeals. Shockingly, a Democrat-appointed bench who sided with counsel in finding last year that the maps prepared by the Democratic legislature were so egregiously gerrymandered that they had to be thrown out. Yes, I went and got that counsel because your side has announced in every way that you could possibly announce that you're bringing this to litigation. So I did that to protect the county's taxpayers.
I'm not too sure I understand. What's my side?
Did you? I don't. Well, maybe you could tell me that.
I appointed members to a TDAC commission, and that was it.
Right. All right. So look. All right. I don't mean any pejoratives there. I mean, okay. It was a member of the temporary district advisory committee. All right. So I withdraw the word your side.
Thank you.
Do you have a statement or anything else?
No. I didn't get an answer to the question. How much did the contract cost for Troutman Pepper and the analysis that was done by Mr. Trendy?
Let me let you raise your hand.
We're not going to get an idea how much it cost? I could tell you how much. I could tell you. I mean, we can get you guys an audit of every single cost of Ms. Dr. Magleby, Dr. Gall, the experts that have been provided, every single one. So again, the folks, this is the secrecy. They say they're transparent, but they can't even tell you how much they paid for something that the county attorney paid for, which is the people's attorney. The entire legislature and people's attorney can't even tell you how much it is, but it's transparent.
Legislator Muley.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I just wanted to talk a little bit about my thinking just prior to the vote. Like Legislator Ferretti, I have found this process fascinating, learned a tremendous amount, and it very fascinating. I went to several of the TDAC hearings. Particularly, there was one in my hometown. I attended that one, as well as a couple others. But and I want to thank the presiding officer for taking into account several things that I said at the Rules Committee hearing, which had to do with South Hempstead and putting that back together. That needed to happen, and thank you for doing that. For Freeport now is divided into 2 as opposed to 4, and you don't have to put on your bathing suit in order to get to the one side to make it contiguous. So that you took that into account, and I very much appreciate that. But I do have some serious problems, which were brought up perhaps by several other people, but I'd just like to give my take on it. The fact that most of Freeport has been moved into a district with Merrick and North Belmore, and to say that because they share Sandy or flood-related issues, that makes them alike. I am not in that district. I'm in a different district, and that portion of Freeport really is where the majority of the flooding, the Sandy-related flooding, happened. So to say that's a real reason, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And then to LD6, if you look at the map, in order to get Roosevelt to add to it, you have to come around and up and over Freeport, and then it's kind of over there. And that one doesn't make sense to me either. It makes much more sense to keep it with North Freeport, and by putting Freeport, most of Freeport now with Merrick and North Belmore, I think that is just very, very clearly diluting the minority vote, and so I believe that the residents of Freeport will no longer have real representation as a result of that. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Any other legislators? Legislator Lafazan.
Sure. So I think the theme of this evening, in my opinion, is disagreement doesn't always have to be personal, and politics can be disagreeable without being personal. So, Rich, you've been a gentleman to me always, and I thank you as always. 10 years ago, as a young student, I sat in this auditorium and I watched this body carve up a gerrymandered map. 10 years later, sitting here as a legislator, it's sad that we haven't grown. I'm an eternal optimist, and I think this county's best days are ahead of us, but I'm also practical, and there's nothing I can say, there's nothing anyone on this side can say that will change this vote in a few minutes. It doesn't mean that we have to just be silent and not put on the record that it's outrageous that Legislator Drucker and I, two Democrats who represent two very large and distinct school districts and communities, Syosset and Plainview, are now in one district. And if this map passes, Arnie, who's been a friend and a mentor and a big brother to me, is now in my district. This doesn't have to be this way. And I know we'll hear from those who drew the map, we don't know where incumbents live. But how many Republicans have been put in a district with another Republican? The answer is 0. And so if you do an ensemble analysis, tens of thousands of simulations, what is the statistical probability that we'll end up with a map with 2 Democrats in the same district, but no Republicans in the district of another Republican? Tomorrow morning, students in Nassau County are going to wake up to a snow day. This body's going to wake up to a lawsuit. When the courts kick it back, I hope that we can work together to make a fair map. This county is not served by the political competition foisted upon Legislator Drucker and I. We've been singled out, it's unfair, and it's quite frankly egregious. So again, when the courts kick this back to us, and we have an opportunity directed by the courts to draw a new fair map, right, when all the rhetoric's done and we finally lose in court, I hope you work with us. I love serving here. Legislator Drucker loves serving here. Our constituents lose tonight, and nobody wins. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
For the record, sign officer. Just for the record, I talked about transparency and I talked about costs, and it wouldn't be fair if I wasn't transparent, nor was I being true with the public. The legislature, the TDAC members on the Democratic side, an extension, obviously going into 2022, we spent $22,000 to Dr. Magleby, who provided expertise in regards to the map, and we spent $74,800 on the map ability drawing capabilities of Dr. Gall, just to be fair. So I would like to hear the number again, but obviously we may not hear that number. But the bottom line is, from our standpoint, and just to piggyback on what Legislator Lafazan had said, we have the power and the authority tonight to basically do the right thing. Unfortunately, this map is going to go forward, and this body is choosing to vote on a map that is going to be illegal. It's illegal for multiple reasons that I indicated at the hearing, but most importantly, Mrs. Thompson, to answer your question, the reason why you didn't get an answer to the 5 majority minority districts is because it does not exist. There's only 4. There is not 5. This map also violates multiple voter rights, Federal Voter Rights Act clauses. It also violates the John Lewis provision as pertains to minority majority. It dilutes minority votes in the areas of Freeport that Legislator Muley talked about, and it also dilutes votes in, in the area of Lakeview. That is very clear. What is also clear is that the legal fees that are provided, the legal fees that are presented by the petitioner or the plaintiff in this particular matter, where maybe be the case, those legal fees are going to be paid for by taxpayers, not the county attorney. Taxpayers, the county will have to foot that bill to pay if those petitions and those litigation cases are successful. That's it. So it would be proper and appropriate for this legislative body to do everything it can to turn over every single issue to ensure that we are passing a legal map. We're not doing that. We have chosen to do things in secrecy. We've chosen things not to be transparent. We've asked pointed questions in regards to Lakeview, to Freeport, no answer. We've asked pointed questions in regards to a 5th minority majority district. We're told by Mr. Salins, who was here a couple weeks ago, that he did not look at race, which to me sounds to be a little bit, I'm not too sure what to say about that, because the whole legislative body was created because Judge Arthur Spatz created two minority majority districts because of race. So I'm not too sure what Mr. Salins is talking about. But that being said, Unfortunately, none of us want this. None of us want to see a lawsuit. I'd rather things get worked out because ultimately the lawsuit's going to cost taxpayer money. That being said, I don't see how there's going to be any path for residents not to join a lawsuit to be able to get some type of legal recourse. We have the opportunity to do the right thing tonight. I'm going to implore my colleagues one more time to do the right thing, to be aware of what is going on from the residents that have come down, and do the right thing tonight. Thank you.
Today's vote is the culmination of many months of hearings, including the TDAC as well as the county legislature. We have heard from numerous residents as well as legislators. And as was stated earlier, we have made numerous changes to the map based on the input of legislators and residents. Did we make every requested change? No. Is this map perfect? No. But perfection is impossible in redistricting. This map is a fair map. It provides for equal representation for all of our residents and protects communities of interest as much as possible. And it does so while complying with all applicable federal and state laws and legal requirements. I urge all of my colleagues to vote yes to approve this map. I'd like to have a vote. You want a roll call? No, I think we can count. Oh. Okay, this is the amended item. All those in favor of the amended item signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, it passes by a vote of 11 to 7.
To reflect, Presiding Officer, I hate to be a nitpick, but I want the record reflect that it is passed with 11 votes of the majority, Republican majority, with 7 votes against from the Democratic minority.
You're
Thank
right.
you.
You're right.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to the next item, which is a hearing on proposed local law. It's a local law to amend Section 6-2.6 of Title A of Chapter 6 of the Administrative Code of Nassau County in relation to reducing the number of years volunteers need to serve to receive the partial exemption from taxation for volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance workers pursuant to Chapter 670. Moved by Legislator Walker, seconded by Legislator Ford. That is a motion to open the hearing. Any debate or discussion? Essentially what this does is it changes the number of years that volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers have to serve before they're eligible for the partial real property tax exemption from 5 to 2. Once they reach that 2-year term, 2 years of service, they will be eligible. This partial exemption it will relate to their county portion of the taxes because the county cannot pass this for other municipalities, but we encourage them to do so. Any discussion? No? All right, motion to close the hearing. Moved by Legislator Ford, seconded by Legislator Phillip. All in favor of closing the hearing signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. Now, as to the vote on the proposed local law, again, it is item 3, a local law to amend Section 6-2.6 of Title A of Chapter 6 of the Administrative Code of Nassau County in relation to reduce the number of years volunteers needed to serve to receive the partial exemption from taxation. Motion by Legislator Giuffre, seconded by Legislator Ferretti. Any debate or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. Item 4, Ordinance 10, is an ordinance making certain determinations pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act regarding an amendment to a license and/or operating agreement between the county and Cornell Cooperative Extension of Nassau County, and authorizing the county executive of the county to execute said amendment and all pertinent documents. Motion by Legislator Drucker, seconded by Legislator McKevitt.
Good evening, legislators. Kevin Walsh from the Office of Real Estate Services. This is an amendment to a license agreement for Cornell Cooperative Extension. They have a current agreement that expires in 2030 to operate East Meadow Farm. This amendment is going to allow a further extension of that license agreement so they continue to serve the East Meadow community and the county with various Cornell cooperative programs. They're going to also be receiving a grant from Covanta, and the county's committing to provide a matching grant of $400,000 or a maximum of $400,000 to build a new dynamic learning center, which is going to serve schools and the community in the area. So, any questions?
Any questions? You can ask, yeah.
Hey, Mr. Walsh.
Hey, good evening, legislator.
So I know this is East Meadow Farm, but since I have you here, I want to ask you about the Malvern Farm and the land trust. Their lease has expired. They've been operating without a lease now for 2 years or so. And
yes, I know during the pandemic, they continue to operate.
Right.
We've been talking. That's kind of our next farm we're really going to be focusing on.
So what kind of timeline are we talking about?
Yeah, they've made a proposal of some changes and some capital. So I'm hoping I'm going to have it here. Hopefully by the summer.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's you I should ask either, but is Cornell Cooperative still involved with the 4-H camp out in Suffolk that I know they were trying to have us
Yes.
be more involved in?
Yes.
And where are we with that?
Yes, and we're also working with them on the 4-H farm out in Riverhead. You're correct. So
Okay.
another item that likely will be before this body in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, all in favor of the item signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Items 15 and 16, resolutions 34 and 35. These are resolutions authorizing the county executive to execute intermunicipal agreements with the villages of Seacliff, the village of Seacliff, and the county, the city of Glen Cove, in relation to a project to procure and install playground equipment, and in relation to improvements to the Veterans Memorial Monument Park. Motion by Legislator DeRigi Whitten, seconded by Legislator Schaefer. These two items need amendments to update the Deputy County Attorney information to reflect current staffing in the office. The amendment is the same for both items. Motion to amend by Legislator DeRigi Whitten, seconded by Legislator Schaefer. Any debate or discussion on the motion to amend? Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All right, so the item now is amended. These two items are amended. So on the items as amended, any debate or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you for that, for the amendment.
Legislator Salage makes a motion to adjourn. Legislator Lafazan seconds. All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, we are adjourned.